right, let me get my PowerPoint going here. All right, investors, thank you so much for joining today at the Realty411 Live Investor Summit. And we have the honor of kicking this event off with the first presentation, the first hour. I would invite you to eliminate any distractions for the next hour, because what Jake and I will share with you today will really make a difference. Okay, so it is worth it to maybe postpone a couple of phone calls and just focus and learn, take notes, participate, which is especially important because in this market today, in the economy today, there are two ways you can react. You can just say, let's wait until everything changes, maybe after the election when interest rates change, or see the opportunity amidst the challenge. And the opportunity right now is huge, huge. I wouldn't even wait until anything changes, because what we're going to share with you today is designed to get you sales and buying properties and selling properties right now this summer and this fall. So without further ado, let's step right in. So my name is Christoph Malzl. I'm VP at LandVoice, and LandVoice has been the top lead provider in the real estate industry for 30 years already. Okay, we started back when we had to fax our data to our clients. Today, of course, everything is done on a platform. I'm going to show you how you can get the data for the right sellers and be a proactive investor instead of, hitting up the same neighborhoods over and over again and wondering why things are not working. I have been with LandVoice for the past 12 years as VP of Business Development, and I'm a data geek. Love it. I know how to read data, how to deliver data, and how to execute on data to actually turn them into money, right? And that's what we're here for. So what type of sellers should we focus on in this market today? We were talking about challenges and opportunities, right? The greatest opportunity you have right now, if you focus on homeowners who need to and who have to sell their home, not on those who want to sell, okay? Those are the ones who are sitting on the fence. You won't get very far right now. I can tell you that. We have a lot of experience with that, so I really encourage you, focus on those who have to sell. And there might be many reasons for that, right? One indication would be, have they been trying to sell several times with an agent and it didn't work out? Are they going through a divorce? Have they lost a job? Do they have to move? All those indicators show that there's an urgent need. Now I'm going to show you a couple lead sources that you as an investor should really pay attention to and that LandVoice has available for you. And I'm going to show you how we deliver those. And then you decide, hey, is this something that can save me time? I propose it saves a lot of time. There's no question in my mind. In fact, I could not imagine being an investor and waking up in the morning to a blank sheet and not knowing what is the next phone call I'm going to make. I'd rather have a plan. I'd rather have data in front of me that I say those 15 people or 20 or 100 or whatever it is. But those few people right now that I am looking at are the best opportunity for me to get a sale, right? Or to buy a property. All right. Now let's start with for sale by owners. Great indicator of somebody who needs and who has to sell. No for sale by owner in the right mind would just, right now just say, oh, you know what, I feel like selling right now. It seems like a good time in the market. No, there is a big reason why they want to sell. So you want to focus on those and you want to have the data. Here's what LandVoice does. So you don't have to go around your neighborhood, find everybody or go to Zillow or for sale by owner.com. That takes way too much time and effort. LandVoice works very simple. You simply give us your top 2 to 4 counties and say, hey, Christoph, in those 4 counties, I want to have my for sale by owners every morning. Now, by midnight, your list populates. It shows right on the top. It shows here, we are showing right now 25 of 109. You can even go further back and say, not just for the day, but let's look for the last 12 months. who has been trying to sell, and they're getting more and more desperate as time goes on. Another indicator that there is a low-hanging fruit. And what we do is we give you the phone numbers for every single one of our data records. We scrub them against the do not call registry because our aim is to keep you safe and compliant. We also give you the address, and we even do an absentee owner lookup to see if that owner lives elsewhere, and give you that address and the phone number of the owner, not of the renter. Okay, so that helps you really talk to the decision maker who wants to sell their house. Of course, we know for sale by owners are a great investment opportunity because they typically sell at a lower price than an agent listed property. So don't ignore them, right? They are usually very, very good for investor to call. Now, we also have a filter. When you click on that, you see the entire ad and everything else about the property, square footage and so on. So you have everything in front of you. You can even export that list and put it into your CRM. The next lead source that you should pay attention to are pre-foreclosures. Another indicator of somebody who has to sell, who needs to sell. Some of them are, of course, in denial, and they say, no, I'm gonna turn this around. I'm gonna get out of this. But all of you who have called pre-foreclosures before know that this is a must-do lead source for any investor, okay? For obvious reasons, right? They still have a couple of weeks before it goes into foreclosure or becomes bank-owned or whatever happens. They usually have equity. So they are in a great position to say, you know what, I'm going to sell. I'm going to make some money with this. I'm not just going to lose my home. And you as an expert, you can actually be a wonderful resource for them to determine the value of the home, give them an offer, and gain a new client. We give you, again, the phone numbers, scrubbed against the do not call registry. The green number is not on the DNC, and that is done regularly on the both state and federal level. Always keeps you safe and compliant. I cannot stress enough, guys, how important it is to adhere to the do not call registry. I've seen way too many cases where investors have been gotten fines of $24,000 to $42,000 per incident. Okay, so don't ignore that. Have a data provider that gives you that information, and there's no better data provider to be reliable and price conscientious in that than LandVoice. We also give you, again, the absentee owner lookup and the address, of course, and the information about the home and the mortgage, which is all in there. I like to actually call the leads from the cell phone because I can simply tap the number and it connects immediately. It's almost like a power dialer where I don't have to hand dial. And when I'm done dialing, I can cross a number out if it's a bad number or if the person wasn't interested. And I can take notes and create tags as well. I'm circling that right here. So that's how that works. Now here, we're going to do a little exercise. I told you earlier that the best way to actually benefit from a presentation like this, if you participate, especially if it's a participation that is free, okay, where you don't have to spend any money. So here's where you don't have to spend money, you simply get a lot of value. We would like to do a data lookup for each of you who is listening, whether live or on a recording, okay? So there's no minimum, there's no limited number that we do that. We do it for every single person. That's our promise to all of our audience at Realty411. We will do a free data lookup for you for the pre-foreclosure and for sale by owner count in your counties, up to 4 counties. We're going to let you know how many you have in the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, up to 12 months back, and give you that breakdown so you know, is that a valuable opportunity for me in my area? Or maybe I should focus on different counties. You see exactly where each county lies and where you can focus on. Remember that selection, especially locality selection, is almost everything in our business in real estate, right? So you want to focus on the counties, on the zip codes, on the areas that can guarantee you the highest amount of sales. Okay, so text it to 801-227-9909. That is my phone, my cell phone, Christoph Malzl. Doesn't go to anybody else. And I cannot promise we finish all the lookups today. Plus, you have actually other sessions to listen to. But I do promise you that by Monday, we will have that complete. And you can expect a callback from an 801 number from myself or from Jake Morse. And we're going to let you know the results for free. Okay. Now, I also encourage you to get to know your neighborhood. You probably noticed that, right? When you would try to call around a listing that an agent has, because you know that listings have babies, right? Other people want to sell or buy, or it's a great opportunity for investors, right? You want to talk to those neighbors. And then you sometimes notice, wait a minute, my database is totally outdated. My numbers are wrong. I don't know if they're on the do not call registry. People moved in, moved out. I don't know how to keep up with keeping it correct. We have a tool that gives you access to up to 3,000 neighbors or individuals anywhere in the United States every single month. So 3,000 a month. That means in 1 quarter, you could get the phone numbers for 9,000 individuals. And those are the hard to find cell phone numbers, guys. We also give you the landlines. We indicate it. Is it a home, a landline, or a cell phone? Is it a commercial property? Is it owner occupied? Yes and no. All the data you see right here is included. When it was built, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms. And in just a couple of weeks, we are even adding email addresses to that. The last sold price is in here. Imagine having at your fingertips the phone number and the name and all that information of anyone, anywhere in the United States. That is powerful. The investor with the best data wins. Data is king. And you cannot afford to be left behind because you're not the only one in your area, looking for deals, looking for a flip, or looking for an investment property for the long term. You're not the only one. Make sure you have the data to put you ahead of anybody else. So here's again a recap, 3,000 monthly search results for neighborhood search. You can search one address or an entire neighborhood. I always recommend, keep it manageable. Do a neighborhood circle around a neighborhood or draw a boundary around a neighborhood with 500 homes, and then export that and work with that. That's manageable. So here is what our investor bundle for you contains, because I know every deal, the lookup is free, right? I tell you for free what you have in that area. For those of you who want to take action and say, I don't want just to know how much I have. I actually want to have the data. So of course that it doesn't come free, but it comes, I would say, almost free, right? Because you can't argue with the price. So for $259 a quarter, you get access to for sale by owners, pre-foreclosures, neighborhood search, a training library. That means all the scripts that you need, and unlimited live support. None of those chat features, that you might be used to from other companies. You get a live person to talk to you, and you can schedule a call back. Now, you can text Realty411 to 801-227-9909, and that will help me so that I know that you would like to get that investor bundle, or at least want to talk about it. But before you do that, check out what I have for you. We have a special for you, okay? That's already a special price, by the way. That's already a discounted price. That's our regular, not a regular, but that's our special for Realty411. I'm gonna reduce the price to only $207 a quarter. That's 20% additional savings for everyone who texts today. You don't have to buy anything today. Simply by texting Realty411 today, you secure your seat for the 20% off. And by the way, that is not a one-time thing, then the following quarter it goes up to $259 or even higher. It does not. You will be grandfathered into that Realty411 special for as long as you want to stay with LandVoice and get the data. So here's a QR code as well, where you can actually get the deal. If you're ready to just sign up, you don't have any questions, you can do that right here. Okay, I just keep that up for a little bit so you can scan that. All right. Now, don't wait too long. Like I said, this is something that you want to do right now. I'm going to show my number at the end again. Now I'm going to, let's shift gears a little bit, okay? I just told you at the very beginning that this is a great timing because we just released a new product that LandVoice never had before. There's only one competitor in the industry who is trying to have a product like that, and they're not doing a very good job. I'm going to show you right now which product it is and why we created this. And maybe I keep the tension high a little bit because I'm not going to tell you what it is until we get past this next couple slides. The past year and a half, 2 years, we experienced turbulences, really obvious economic headwinds that caused a very interesting situation in our economy. And I don't want to make this and start this event bleak, but this is reality. Okay, we just have to look at the reality into the eye and see what opportunity comes out of a challenge. The US economy and stock market are on a clear path to recession. The economy and the stock market have never seen anything like this. Everything reminds me of the dot-com bubble in 2001 to 2002. Paul Dietrich, Chief Investment Strategist, B. Riley Fairfax. Bloomberg tells us that 43% of small businesses were unable to pay the rent in full in April due to economic headwinds. Most of this, guys, is caused by the interest rates, okay? Especially when it has to do with banks and loans, it's all interest rates. With consumers, it is often inflation that we have experienced. The percentage of credit card balances in serious delinquency, 90 days or more late, climbed to its highest level since 2012. Here's another slide on credit cards. US credit card delinquency rates were the highest on record in the fourth quarter of 2023. Okay, we are waiting for the report now of 2024, and we already know that there is another increase. Ken Griffin, I always trust him when what he has to say. He says a default cycle is going to happen again. And some of you, as investors, you know that this is an opportunity, right? This is an opportunity to help people and also to grow a very profitable business of investment properties. And at the same time, because those individuals have some equity, it's also a very beneficial experience for them as well. Now, the percentage of companies that have defaulted on their debt more than once has reached a second highest level since 2008. S&P Global Ratings is telling us that. And almost 300 banks are at higher risk of failure. And that was just released last month in May 2024. For those of you who remember in 2008, we had 64 banks defaulting and failing, okay? I don't think that 300 banks are really going to fail. There's going to be some bailouts. There's going to be some recovery. My estimate is we will have more than 64 in 2008. And that is serious. Every time a bank fails, it has its repercussions, sometimes even globally. And why is that? Because banks right now have a projected loss forecasted of $600+ billion. And most of it has to do because of the interest rate. So all of this has led to a mountain of distressed homeowners. And that is what you as an investor are focusing on right now. That's what you have to focus on. You have to get the data of those distressed homeowners. And if you have that, you are ahead of the curve. You're ahead of everybody else who's coming in later to talk to the pre-foreclosures. That mountain right now is, comparatively speaking, small. What will happen, though, is there will be a huge shift of transfer from distressed towards pre-foreclosure, and that mountain will grow. Right now, this mountain is a lot taller, so we're going to focus on distress. Now, how can you get the data of distressed homeowners? And what does it even mean to be distressed? Here's our new product that we have for you, and I'm going to tell you exactly what type of homeowners those are and how you can indicate or how you can find out what the level of distress is. A distressed homeowner is somebody who has been late on their payments. Oftentimes it starts with credit card payments. Most of them have that, car payments, and then it goes into the crucial part, the mortgage payments. Rent payments as well, right? But mortgage payments as well. So what you as investor focus on homeowners who actually have a mortgage, that's what I would recommend. We have all the data for you. We have even a thermometer for every single lead. And it's called the level of distress. You can see right here, it goes from light orange into medium orange into deep orange. If it's a deep orange, there's serious distress. They are not yet in pre-foreclosure. And that is the exciting part of this data, guys. You are now getting access to homeowners who are not yet in pre-foreclosure, but most likely will be so in about 30 days to 60 days. You are coming in early to build a relationship. Because guess what happens when they're all in pre-foreclosure? They're getting calls from every real estate agent and other investors who have access to that public data. You will come in first. And like I said earlier, data is king. If you have it earlier, you will do so much better. You get access to all the phone numbers, and every number is scrubbed against the do not call registry, like with everything else that we have to offer. Now, this data package is not part of our investor bundle. That's an add-on product, right? That you can do for a month. You can do it for a couple of months. You can just do it one time if you want to. I have somebody right now who has been doing this, and they were actually an agent. Okay, it was not an investor, but what happens to an agent can happen to an investor as well. They got 7 listings out of reaching out to those type of homeowners. And they said, I could not have gotten 7 listings if I would have called just, the everybody else, like what everybody else is calling. So now I'm going to show you a good script that is working well with a distressed homeowner, because the last thing you want to do is saying, I saw you're heading towards foreclosure, you're on my list, or I have access to a list. They're going to hang up on you faster than you can count. Even if you say, I help people like you, it doesn't matter. They're saying, that's creepy, I don't want to talk to you. And, I have done it myself. I got phone calls from investors, and they were saying, is your home for sale? Or, they just come in right away with the wrong thing, or there's something happening in your neighborhood. I said, you know what, that's kind of creepy, and I hang up. What you want to do, you want to be hyper local. Okay, you want to say something like, you are in this neighborhood, or I've been calling everybody here in Mapleton, right? That's where I live, because home prices are up. And I was wondering, if you were offered the right price for your home, would you be willing to sell? Or I just spoke with your neighbor so-and-so. Just bring that into the conversation, okay? Or do you know anybody in this neighborhood right now who wants to sell? Maybe yourself. I'm just going through the homeowners in North Mapleton. Be hyper local. The more local you are, the more trustworthy you will become to them. I know your home isn't for sale right now. Have you ever thought about selling? That's a simple neighborhood search script. Okay, write this down. It is working. Now, that is what I call fishing in a blue ocean. When you come in before everybody else, you're in a blue ocean, you find that there's not much competition. They haven't heard from anybody else yet, especially with distressed homeowners. If you come in a little bit later, especially the second week of pre-foreclosure, Landlord still helps you to get the pre-foreclosure the first day when it becomes an online record. But when you are like a week or 2 weeks late, you're already in a red ocean with everybody else. It's too late. Be in the blue ocean and you will have amazing conversations. Now, here is what you're getting with our distress data. We do it by area, okay? So you give us your top zip codes and we target those zip codes and find everybody that is in distress in those zip codes. Then we scrub and filter it to make sure that there's nobody else included in your lead source or in a list that doesn't fit that category of distress that we are looking for. We guarantee that you get at least 500 records. And that means we would need probably more than one zip code. I just talked to one client. We needed 5 zip codes to find 500. And they were so happy because there was one zip code, very expensive homes. There were 39 distress homeowners, right? And then other zip codes, they had like 200 and 300. So, but they were so excited about those 39 because they said, that is high ticket homes. That is exciting. That's exactly what I was looking for. It would have taken me forever to get those 39 records, all right? But you will always walk away with a total of 500. And then we make it exclusive. And that is actually something that some people say, why are you doing an exclusive? You could sell it over and over again. No, we don't do that at LandVoice. We want to make it exclusive to really make it more valuable to you. That means once the zip code is taken, it's not sold to anybody else. That lead will go to nobody else, okay? So that is exclusivity, access to distressed data records for you. Now, how much are 500 records? Well, we have a competitor. We have only one in the industry that does exactly that, distressed properties. They charge $2,000 and the data is not even very good. There's not even scrubbed against the do not call registry. And the phone numbers are so-so. Our phone numbers come from an elite database that we run it through. The same database provider that provides attorneys, law enforcement, and attorneys and law enforcement with the hard to find phone numbers, okay? Now we have a special pricing for you. Instead of doing $2,000, our price to you is only $1,250 for 500 records. That is nothing. That is peanuts, all right? Especially if you think, if I get a couple deals out of this, even just one deal, we'll pay for that big time. If you already are a LandVoice client or you're a new LandVoice client, your price will be dropped down by another $250 to only $1,000 for 500 records. How much does it cost to be a LandVoice client? Well, you saw it earlier, right? As little as $207 for a quarter, or if you just pick one product, maybe it's just for sale by owners or pre-foreclosures, you only pay $40 a month and you already considered a LandVoice client and you get the distressed property now for another $250 off, okay, for $1,000. Now, if you want to continue and have every month your zip codes updated and the new records, a new 30-day late and distressed homeowners, then you only pay $500 moving forward. So the first time with the setup and everything, it's $1,000, and then after that, $500 for you. And the $500 doesn't matter if you LandVoice client or not, you will get that $500. Now there's a website where you can look at that, where you can also type in your counties and we do some lookup for you. And you don't have to buy it. It's just basically a landing page where you put in name so we can reach out to you. landvoice.com/distressed. You can also go to this QR code to do this. I give you a little time to scan that. Okay, I hope that worked. If it didn't work, go to landvoice.com/distressed. Now, I recommend, however, instead of just doing it there, because you cannot enter zip codes, you can only enter counties, we will do, Jake and I, a free distressed data lookup for you. Simply text your name and 3 to 5 zip codes to my cell phone, 801-227-9909. And I'm going to tell you exactly the exciting lookup that we do for you. You're going to love this. We're going to tell you for each zip code how many distressed homeowners there are in the last 30 days. Okay, that is actually really valuable, right? It's a data that you don't get anywhere else. you will know exactly that in that zip code where you live in, okay, there are 50 or there are 300. And then it gives you a good idea which zip codes you may want to focus on and where is the most distress. And that knowledge, that intelligence is for free for you. Okay, there's no gimmick, nothing you have to purchase. We just do that for free. Now, if you want to get that data, those 500 in total, then of course that will be sold to you if you want to at the discounted price I showed you earlier. Now, here is my name again and my number, 801-227-9909. The website is landvoice.com/distressed. And with that, we're gonna go now to Q&A because I wanted to reserve enough time so you can ask questions. We have about, I would say, 25 minutes left. All right, let's first check the chat feature. And Jake, if you want to unmute yourself, is there anything that I forgot to mention that you thought that would have been a good knowledge for everybody?
No, Christoph, I think you got it handled there. You did a fantastic job. Yeah, we've seen a lot of success from this data, from not only realtors but also investors like yourselves. So we're excited to be here with all of you.
Thank you. Well, Yolanda is asking, are there any deals on the quarterly elite? So Yolanda probably has been to our website. The elite bundle, Yolanda, is only for real estate agents. Okay, it's not for investors. The reason why is because the elite bundle includes expires. Now, all of you who are licensed to have a real estate license, and you're also an investor, you can qualify for our elite bundle and our pro bundle, not just the investor bundle. And yes, we do have monthly deals, quarterly deals, annual deals. Simply text us the word elite or pro to 801-227-9909 and write your name and let us know that you're an agent. And then we're going to tell you what the pricing is. But yeah, there's huge savings as well. So let me just type this in here, 801-227-9909. So again, the difference between the investor bundle and the elite or pro bundle is that it includes, pro and elite include expireds, withdrawals, and cancels with all the phone numbers scrubbed against the do not call registry. Okay, Yolanda, you're an agent. Wonderful. Why don't you just text me and we'll reach out to you either today or by Monday at the latest. Thank you, Yolanda. Okay, do we have another question here?
Yes, I do have a question, Christoph.
Okay.
Now, for those who are both investors and agents,
yeah,
do they need to sign up differently to gather the information for both niches, or do they just use one account for both?
It's one account for both. Okay, so if I understand the question correctly, so let's say you are an agent and you sign up for the investor bundle or for the pro bundle, then you can simply add on our distressed property. If you are an investor and you're not an agent, and you just want to get the distressed property, you can do the investor bundle and the add-on of the distressed property. I don't know that. I may have been a little bit confused on that question. Can you, if that wasn't the question, can you rephrase it?
Yes, for those that are both agents and investors, and I know that you can utilize Land Voice for both.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have to do anything different if they want to compile information, you know, for investing purposes rather than for their brokerage activities?
So it's only the script that is different, right? The data that you're receiving is exactly the same. Okay, so as an investor, of course, you have a different script, and we can help with that as well. We have a script library. And if you are an agent, then you use, of course, the agent script. But no, you don't have to do anything different. We don't even have to know if you're an investor or an agent, or that you're an investor when you're an agent. But we do have to know that you are not an agent, okay? So because then we're not allowed to give out the expired data, because that only works if you have an active MLS license.
Wonderful. Now, folks, we encourage you to write down your questions in the chat. Christoph is here for you. He wants to answer any questions that you may have about how Land Voice can help you and your business grow.
One little advice to agents who are calling for sale by owners, and Yolanda, that might be interesting to you. We found that the best approach to for sale by owners is to provide value before you ask for the listing. Okay, one great value to add is actually give them an alternative phone number to advertise a property ad. That works really well. We have a product at Land Voice. It's included in Elite, and it gives them a 800 number just for the purpose of selling their home. And you can say, hey, I give you that for free. Why am I doing this for free? Because I get a lot of buyer leads who are interested in your property that I can actually work with for other transactions. So I'm happy to give you a free number. We're happy to share more about this. There might not be enough time to do this on this webinar, but it's included in the lead bundle for all the agents. Okay, now, yeah, if you want to look up the Elite bundle and the call capture, simply type in landvoice.com/call capture, and you can learn about that free 800 number. It's tremendous value. Nobody can really say no to a dedicated number for selling their home. It's simply, it makes too much sense, because who wants to be called with spam calls on their cell phone all day long, right? And when you're done with selling your home or talking to all those lenders and so on, then you take that number off and you go back to your private number, and it was never compromised. All right, we have no other questions here. Jake, is there anything else that you can share that might add a little bit more information to what we're talking about?
Christoph, I do have one question I would like to ask, if I may.
Of
Could
course.
you share with us maybe a success story from one of your clients on how they were able to expand their business and skyrocket their business utilizing Land Voice?
Yeah, the best testimonials are always the most recent ones. Do you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So let me tell you what happened yesterday. Yesterday, I got an email from a broker and said, Christoph, I would like to do a webinar on one of my agents. And here's what happened to that agent. He said he's a single father. He was nearly broke. And when I just read this, my heart almost broke, because can you imagine a single father almost broke? It must be horrendous. Anyway, he was almost broke, and he decided, I have to do something different. I have to turn things around. And then that broker wrote me, he said he ended up using Land Voice and a dialer. I don't think even he would have needed a dialer. Land Voice would have been enough. But he used Land Voice, and within a month and a half, I think he said, he had 7 listings, which totals to $2.4 million in volume. And he is so motivated and so happy, unrecognizable from before, when he was almost broke. Okay, so 7 listings in a month and a half, and exclusively everything from land voice. That is powerful. So where do those listings come from? Typically, they come from for sale by owner, pre-foreclosures, and expireds. Okay. Then some of them also come from calling and circle calling around the neighborhood, because we know listings have babies. Now, for those of you who are investors, who are not agents, the same goes for you. It doesn't matter, if you want to, as an agent, sell a home, or as an investor, buy a home. The homeowners, the data, the people are the same that you're reaching, right? So just having the data in front of you also helps you to stay away from being frustrated or depressed or broke or questioning whether you are doing the right thing in your life right now, because you have a plan every single day when you wake up. You download that list, you have it in front of you, and that is called the low-hanging fruit, the data that we give you at LandWise. Also the homeowners who really need and who have to sell. Now, adding the distress data on top of everything that we have done for the last 30 years, that now it's just turbocharging everything that you're doing. And you're going to see that you're going to get more sales and more listings if you're an agent that way. Okay. Keep in mind, with distress, it is not always immediate. They're not going to tell you right away, yes, I want to sell my home. They still may say, no, let's see what happens. But I appreciate that you're calling. I just want to know the value of my home, and you're building a relationship. It may take a couple of weeks, maybe a month, or maybe 2 months, right? But if you don't build a pipeline right now, during this summer, we are going to look at a very difficult fall. So this is a time to actually talk to homeowners when they have time to think, when they have time to prepare, and see what they're going to do before the end of the year. Okay. So thank you. Excellent question, Linda. I have more testimonials. I can tell you one more. I like this one a lot. It has to do with call capture again, I like that Yolanda recognized right away, oh, it's brilliant. Give him an 800 number for free, right? It's actually like shooting fish in a barrel. Nobody likes to say no to something that is of value and is free. It's very hard for people to say, no, I pass on that. They usually pass on stuff where they have to pay a little bit, right? But if it's free, they said, yeah, I can do this. So it's like shooting fish in a barrel. When you, let's say you call 8 for sale by owners and you give them a free 800 number to sell their home. With all the marketing included, we do actually the flyer for the fishbowl and the sign, whatever they need. In my experience, like 5 out of 8 or so will say, I'll take that. Then let's start like that. That's not bad. Are you sure I don't have to sign anything? Are you sure this is for free? So that works really well. And I like what our client recently said. He said, it's like shooting fish in the barrel. I just can work with as many people as I want to. All right.
Wonderful. Now, Joseph has a question. Can you bump up your subscription after you start? Say you start as a, with the basic package, and then can you bump it to Essential or Pro later?
Yes, you can. So if you want to bump it up at a special rate and not at the regular website price, it is actually important that you keep my number and write it down, 801-227-9909, because what could happen if you just go through sales or go through our website, that you will get the future pricing. Right now we're going to look at when you signed up. You signed up at this webinar, and that guarantees you that you actually get bumped up at the lowest rate possible in the future. Okay, so for instance, the lowest rate right now for the Pro bundle is $100 a month, but on our website it's $177 a month, and I don't want this to happen to you. I want you to be able to be bumped up from maybe $100 a month to Elite and save that money and don't have to pay more. Okay.
Wonderful. Now,
Yes,
there is
we have actually
another question.
we have a lot of agents. They actually start out on a monthly basis for the investor bundle, and then later on they bump it up to the annual, because with every increase of a term, like going to quarterly or going to annual, there's another price decrease.
Wonderful. What about the distress list of 500? Do they include both residential and commercial?
Okay, so we are focusing on distress on residential. I do have to tell you that in the next couple of months, that list is going to be expanded. Okay, so we are adding a lot of data points to it. So I did not mention today what this is going to be, but we're going to include in the future mortgage balance, equity, interest rate, all of those kind of data points, email addresses. I don't want to overpromise right now, because this is what we have right now, is what I showed you earlier: name, address, information about the home, right? The square footage and so on, and the phone numbers. But just realize, as we expand it, as the product grows, you will not have to pay more just because we're adding more data. You will be grandfathered in, getting in at a low rate right now.
Wonderful. Well, folks, let us know if you have any other questions. Christoph, thank you so much for an amazing presentation.
Thank
And just to let everyone know, Christoph will be joining us at our next in-person conference being held August the 3rd in West Los Angeles.
That's
We
right.
will be at the Four Point Sheraton, and Christoph and Jake will be there to answer any questions that you may have. They'll be able to give us a presentation of their platform and let us know how we can use Land Voice to our advantage as well, to get that edge in procuring as many leads as possible, whether we are investors or real estate agents, brokers.
What you can expect is, if you use Land Voice regularly, when I say regularly, is I would say about 4 times a week. Okay, if you do it for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes a day, you should see about an average of 2 to 3 transactions a month. The key is really in consistency. And as you can tell from the stat that I just told you, it is not crazy. You don't have to, spend day and night and weekends away from the family to do this. Just be consistent 4 days a week for half an hour to an hour a day to get 2 or 3 transactions a month. And that is life-changing. The key is really in consistency.
Fantastic. Well, Christoph, thank you so much. We want to encourage any other questions out there that you have. Put them right in the chat. Christoph is here for you. Jake, is there anything that you would like to add?
Here's a question. Do you ever make it to Las Vegas? Las Vegas is actually a very popular place for conventions. We are there probably twice, maybe 3 times a year. The next time it's on my calendar is, I think it's going to be September. But I wouldn't be surprised if I'm there before. We will be there again in October and November. So actually 3 months in a row. So yeah, keep my number, stay connected. I'm not one of those executives, who says, no, okay, I give you a fake or a business number, that you can never reach. This is my cell phone number. I want to be available for you. That's how we build our business, and that's how Land Voice has been growing at the rate that it has, because we are just a very personal business and are here for you as a real person to help you along. It's our passion. We just love to help investors and agents.
Fantastic. Well, be sure to join us on August the 3rd in West Los Angeles. Come meet with us in person. Yeah. There's nothing quite like meeting people in person and learning from them. In my opinion, that is the best way to learn. And we have also hosted events in Las Vegas, Nevada. We hope to be there back shortly, maybe next year. We'll go back there as well. We love Las Vegas, such a great place to visit and to hold conferences. When we do host events there, we bring in people from around the country. So we definitely want to go back. Thank you for your question, Joseph.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christoph. It's been a pleasure to have you join us. Can't wait to see you soon.
Hey, thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. What a pleasure, Linda. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Christoph. We appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, folks, next we have the Maverick Millionaire joining us. We're so excited to have him. Mr. Paul Finck, how are you, dear?
Doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for attending the private lending expo with our friend Perez and for representing Realty 411. We really
Oh,
appreciate you.
you're very welcome. Always, always, always for you, Linda. And for everyone that doesn't know, Linda and I have known each other somewhere around 15 years now. We've really lost track, and it's been an incredible journey and just an amazing relationship. So anyone and everyone, if this is your first time connecting up with Realty 411 and all that they accomplish and do all around the country, pay attention, stay close, be involved. You'll see us all around the country and beyond ongoing. So it's just amazing events. You got to get in person, and then all the virtual events, fill in the gaps, if you will.
Absolutely. And Paul is joining us to share some amazing negotiation skills for real estate investors.
Here,
He's
here.
going to teach us some strategies that we can implement today to make a difference in our negotiation skills. So, my dear friend Paul Finck, take it away.
Thank you so much. And what a great segue from now you've gotten access to a list of names and a list of pieces of real estate, of property that's available that you can go in and start creating your deal. Now it's a matter of learning some of the nuances that will add thousands and thousands of dollars to your bottom line, and sometimes in the tune of tens of thousands and even hundreds of thousands of extra dollars on every deal. When you know how to communicate, how to engage, bottom line, how to negotiate effectively. And so that's the topic of conversation that we're going to engage in now. I train entrepreneurs, real estate investors, realtors, mortgage brokers all around the country. And I'm here to share with you. I've been an entrepreneur for almost 40 years now. And every step of the way, sales, negotiations, influence, persuasion, these skill sets on learning how to communicate and what's going on with the inner psyche. Started off with a degree in clinical psychology, which gave me a little bit of an edge in understanding how the human condition works, understanding how our brain works and how we react. And that's part of the conversation that's here. And I'm going to start off with a unusual start, and I've got a slide deck, and we're going to go through. Only the slide deck is a crutch at best. It definitely isn't going to guide our conversation. For all of you that are in the chat, I see the chat available for everyone. And so with the chat, what I'd love to see is how much of a rookie, expert, somewhere in between are you? Give me on a level from 1 to 10, how much experience you have as a real estate investor, 10 being the highest, meaning you're an expert and you've been doing this for more than a decade. 1 meaning you are brand new, just getting started. A 5 meaning you've had a couple deals going. So give me a number 1 to 10 as to where you are in that equation. rookie 1, expert 10, somewhere in between. Excellent, excellent. I see everything from a 1 to a 7 to 10 from some of the conversations. I've gathered some of this already as I've been listening in behind the scenes. And 7, so some of you are definitely in the more of the expert range, and we've got a few people in the intro range. So I'm going to guide my presentation to help all of you. Also give me commercial or residential. Go add in the chat, are you commercial real estate focus or are you more residential single family home focus? So residential an R, commercial a C. Residential. From the last presentation, most of you are probably residential. However, you'll dabble in commercial. My background is I've done both. I started as a real estate investor 22 years ago, and 22 years ago started off in multifamilies, which is where a lot of these negotiations, some of the examples will be stemmed from, which also is multi-unit in commercial or multifamily in residential. And I've done both over the years, as well as a whole list of other types of techniques and strategies. The key component with all of negotiations is understanding that you're looking to create the best deal. And I've had some people, as I talk about this, are like, oh, well, I don't want to manipulate people. Here's the thing, that there's engagement that happens with people. And whether you're knowledgeable about it or not, that's what you're deciding. Oh, well, I'm going to be ignorant about influence, persuasion, and negotiations, or I'm going to be knowledgeable about it. Then you get to decide how to utilize it in the arena. And what I usually recommend is that you utilize it to create a win-win, to create an engagement where there's definitely, some meat still left on the table, because that's a long-term strategy. It doesn't mean you need to negotiate to grab every dollar. However, let's just assume that you know a technique. Do you not use it knowing that there's plenty of meat still on the bone, and yet you would be able to engage with an extra $5,000 in your pocket? Do you not use a technique? And so people that play within this arena, I want you to get, this is strategies and techniques for you to utilize and at least know about, because there's two sides of every negotiations. If the other side knows these techniques and are using them, there's also the knowledge on how to counteract these techniques that are being overall. Bottom line is, and share in the chat, who here would love to make an extra $2, $3, $5, $10, $20, $30,000 in every single deal? Who here would like to increase the amount that they're making per deal? Put a $ in the chat so I know I'm talking to the right audience. Yes, indeed. Yolanda, multiple $signs. Beautiful. So let's get into the game, and I'll show you some of what I'm talking about. And I'm going to jump on some of my slides and move forward very quickly so that we can jump ahead. This is all about becoming an expert negotiator. Communication is persuasion, influence, sales, marketing. It's everything that we do. Core negotiations. One of the things that got me excited in real estate was this, is that you can negotiate on everything or anything. And here's a short list of all the different pieces, all the different nuances that you could negotiate with in a deal. This is what excited me. Knowing sales, knowing negotiations, knowing how it can play out, I realized that it wasn't just about the price. Any one of these pieces, any one of these bullet points that can be negotiated on could create a powerhouse deal for me, regardless of all the other components. So if I just move the interest rate on the deal, if I'm doing owner financing and I create a low interest rate or maybe even zero interest rate, does the price become less important? Absolutely. Because there's so much more money spent in interest. If I create a different payment plan, if I end up with a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in appliances or in extra stuff that's left in the house, can that make or break a deal? I just got grabbed hold of a great Mercedes convertible that was left in a garage in one of the deals that one of our students engaged with. That's key. Does that add value, huge amount of extra value to the property just because of what's left behind? So these are all components of that. So be an expert negotiator, earn thousands more on every deal. Results of more money, more time, more freedom, a better life. How does all that happen? It happens when you get clear. Happens when you get clear in your negotiations and your strategies, in the tools and systems that you use. And it could all become clear with just one action. What if that one action was what you did today to create tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars more in your future over the next, let's say, 12 months? How would all this be delivered? That's what I'm going to share with you. And here's the first step. I'm going to give this right up front. This is maverickoffer.com, and basically a free gift, and don't miss out. Grab hold of the QR code right away. You could move forward on everything else. Grab hold of the QR code, and this is where you can have a private consultation with me. We can go through a couple of your deals. We can talk about the negotiation strategies and what might apply for your deals. All this, we can do that in a very short phone call consult. I give this as my gift for you right up front. There is a sale later on, which is huge value, but at least this you can grab hold of and get into the Maverick family and be a part of our community right away. So I wanted to get that up front. So what I've learned over the last 20 plus years being in the real estate game, 3 Maverick keys, and I'm known as the Maverick Millionaire because I help people create just millions of dollars, and I help them do it in different ways than they normally know. So deals are not found, deals are created. You can get leads, but you're not going to find deals. Deals are created. And that's what all this conversation is about, creating deals. Here's someone that I know, and I get to hang out with a lot of amazing people over the decades now. This is Richard Branson, Sir Richard Branson, and I bring him up. This is not just a photo shoot. We got to hang out at his island, Necker Island in the Virgin Isles. He is the owner of Virgin Records, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Galactica, Virgin Mobile, all those great things. Virgin, this is his island in the Virgin Isles called Necker Island. And we got to hang out here a couple times, both my wife and I. That's my wife in the middle there of a couple people. It was us, several other millionaires, and of course, Richard Branson, who's a billionaire. My wife was having a good time. They're doing the conga line in this picture. I wasn't sure I was going to get her back from all these millionaires and billionaires, especially Richard Branson. He kind of liked her. And who wouldn't? She is my soulmate, the love of my life. We started dating 36 years ago. God bless. Why am I showing you Richard Branson? Because if we go back, this nice little island here, this island is Necker Island. And I went there, and the story goes that he was dating his then girlfriend, future wife, and he's just started out dating her, and she wanted to go on vacation, and he wanted to. Now, he wasn't a billionaire yet. He was the guy who had just started this small little record company, hadn't had any big record names yet, nothing had hit. So all his money's invested in his business. He had nothing to his name. And he ends up going to on vacation with his girlfriend, and he wanted to impress her. She came from a very rich family, and so he figured out that if you go island shopping, you get a limo ride to the helicopter, and you get a helicopter ride to look at all the islands. Well, he thought this was great. Only there was one major challenge in the whole equation, is that, well, she called him out on it. And how did she do that? She actually pointed to an island and said, I like that one. Now, he was just going for the ride. He had no intention of buying an island. He barely had 2 nickels put together for in his bank account at that point. He had just started a company, everything invested in the company, and had no real money to his name. And she's pointing out an island for him to buy. So, not to be put on the spot, he thought quickly and he placed an offer on this island. So, play along with me. Now, this island was listed for $3 million. So, $3 million, the island's listed for. Here we have Richard Branson put on the spot. He's got to place an offer. What's his offer on this island? Go ahead and share in the chat what you believe his offer is. So go ahead, and I'm going to rearrange to make sure I'm seeing. So we're looking for people participate in this. What would be your offer on this island called Necker? It's called Necker Island now. It was this island. It was just a hunk of trees and rock, and listed for $3 million. I see one offer of 1.8. Anybody else want to play along? What would you offer for this island? And I'll give you a minute, because this is really key. And you want to know the difference between us and them, between the people that make it and the people that don't, the people that create abundance and the people that don't. What would you offer? Someone put 5 million, another person put 1.8 million. I've heard ranging from 3.5 to get the deal, as it is a great opportunity. I've heard people say anywhere from 1 million to 2.5 million to 3.5 million. 5 million is on the high side. 1 million was usually on the low side. Guess what Richard Branson offered for this island? He offered $150,000. You heard me right. $150,000 for this island. And most of us were like, oh my gosh, I could never. That would be so humiliating to offer that. That would be painful. Or why would he even bother? The realtor would laugh at me. I'd be ridiculed. You want to know the difference between a billionaire and the rest of the universe? That's the difference. He had the balls to go forward and say, 150,000. Who would have done that? Who here would have? Now, what happened? Did he get it? Well, we know that he did because he owns it now, but did he get it for 150,000? Guess what? It got rejected. Only here's the thing, in negotiation 101, you got to get in the deal. You got to get in the deal. You got to place an offer, no matter how ridiculous it is. You got to place an offer to get in the deal. He got in the deal because he dared to place an offer. Offer was ridiculous, $150,000. Guess what he got it for? $180,000. It was listed for $3 million, and yes, he got it for $180,000. And people are like, how? Why? What happened? You will never know the magnitude of deals that you did not get, that you could have. That not only could you have gotten, you could have gotten it at a steal and made hundreds of thousands of dollars more, if not millions. And yet you never dared to place the offer. You never dared to get in the game. If there's one thing I can stress for you, all of you, that you take away from this presentation is you got to get in the game, or you can't even start learning or utilizing these techniques and strategies. He dared to get in the game, got a $3 million list price, and got it for $180,000. Now, the other thing I will tell you is that, and I apologize, I don't know how many people here are realtors as well as investors. Only most realtors and most owners, when they list a price, the price is nothing for you to look at. Whatever the list price is, please, you want to learn negotiations 101, you want to get into more deals, ignore the price that it's listed for. Analyze the property and go in with the value that you believe it's worth, and or that you believe it's worth and that you can afford to pay. With those two equations in mind, that's how you place offers. You don't place offers because of a price that they have decided that's the price tag. They've decided that's the price tag that is worthwhile, because most of the time, are they going high or are they going low? Are they looking to give you the lowest price possible in their list offer, or are they giving you not only what they would accept, but more? They're looking to go high, and that's how they decide what to list at. They don't go low. So with that in mind, if you look at this as something to use as an anchor, that price, you're already moving the line towards their end of the negotiation table. So I think I've stressed this enough. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Be clear. Don't pay attention to list price. Go in with what you think it's worth or what you think you can afford to pay, in Richard's case, and watch the magic that happens, because now you're going to be in the deal. So let's move forward. I actually have a great book that I put together that is going to be available to you, and I'll give you an offer here in just a few moments. Is going to be available to you. It's called Maverick 50 Negotiation Strategies and Techniques that you can utilize, not only one or two of them, but all 50 in your deals. And this is something, we're going to highlight just a couple of these Maverick 50. One is, well, here's just overview. Simple negotiations. And I'll give you some really keys. And for the experts in this, if this is something you already know, understand, we'll get to some of the key components that may change your world in just a moment. One is, contract is just the beginning. Understand that when you get a property under contract, that's where negotiations really starts. That's not where it ends. And all too many people get into analyzing the property, and they avoid placing offers, and they avoid getting under contract because not everything is perfect the way they want. There are tons of clauses in every part of real estate contracts that will help you unwind a deal if you're going down a rabbit hole that does not work for you, is not effective. So understand the contract is just the beginning, meaning that once you have it under contract, there are multiple different stages that you can go through to negotiate or get out of a deal. So never hesitate, get a property under contract, get it under control, and then you can get into the deal and create more magic once you're in. Security is in the well-written contingencies, all the clauses that you can put into a contract. You're not familiar with that. That's definitely something that we can talk about more during the consultation calls. Terms. As I talked about, everything can be negotiable. And with that, all your terms can make a deal that may be average or bad to being a deal that's great, all because of the terms, not just the price. And always, you want to get real strength in negotiations, be willing to walk away. It's just like poker. Know when to fold, know when to walk away, and the power of negotiating strong with the knowledge that you can walk away is where your strength will come from. Effective negotiation style is combined with good style and posture and positioning and medium of communication, speed of communications. Do you know you can highly influence the negotiations by pausing the negotiations, by not reacting fast, actually deliberately slowing down your reaction time? Who's a big sports fan? In sports, they do this all the time. The other team's getting momentum. Oh, timeout, timeout. The timeout causes a revamp of what's happening, and the momentum gets lost. We know that in sports. We know that in physical activity. Do you know what happens in mental activity as well? When you have a negotiations that's just lightning speed and the other side is like bam, 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 you want to break their momentum. If you feel like they're winning every contingent and you're not, just pause the negotiations. Don't respond right away. Give them a day or two before you respond back. Maybe just tell them, oh, you know what? I'm going to be on vacation this week. Let's re-engage next Friday. And so now you've paused negotiations. And in doing so, there's a little bit of freak out that happens on the other side. And with that, you're changing the momentum. You're changing the communication. Speed of communication also, if you want the other side to respond to you fast, respond fast. If you want to slow down and make everything go a little bit slower, respond slow and they will follow in kind. You'll be able to mirror and match, or they will mirror and match your speed, how you communicate, your style when you're effective at it. These are just some of the techniques in negotiations that really pays off. And people go, yeah. No. But how do I get a better deal? Telling you these things work step by step in creating the magnitude of concessions in your space. So let's go through 3-option offer. This is something I've utilized over and over again. I've used it in residential. It's better well known and better utilized in commercial. However, it can be effectively utilized in residential as well. And that is where you absolutely create 3 different offers for them, and the owner gets to choose which one is better. Which one would they like? The 3 offers, and here's a list property that I worked with. This is a property that Main Street. You find anything on Main Street in commercial all across the nation, run to find out what it's all about, run to grab hold of it and get it on the contract. So that's what I did with this. I learned about it 10:30 in the morning. By 12 o'clock, I had a walkthrough, and by 8:30 the next morning, I had a offer in on this piece of property. The property was listed at $769,000. And so this was a 3-unit commercial property. Most of it rented. $769,000 was the offer or the list price. This is actually the list piece of paper that I got, all crumpled up and everything. Who knew I was going to be a speaker and needed this? And here's what I offered. I offered 3-option offer. 3-option offer means that you adjust the offer slightly based on terms is how I would recommend. So there's a low price, a medium price, and a high price offer, and each one slightly adjusts the terms. So a high offer, all the terms are in your favor. A low price offer, all the terms are in their favor. And the middle one would be a balance of the two. In doing this offer, what happens is when you psychologically ask a yes/no question, statistically, across the board, you will get the majority of people saying no. Given a yes/no question, even when the outcome is positive, to say yes, you will get the majority of people statistically saying no, because Security and safety comes in with the known versus the unknown, even when the unknown is positive or the alternative is positive. So yes, no will always get you no. So when you place an offer, you're more likely to get a no than a yes, regardless of how good the offer is. So with a 3-option offer, we play on the psychology of choices, of variety. Oh, well, the other person seems more flexible. And chances are they're going to go with one of the 3, usually the middle one, in your negotiations. Well, that's what happened with this. They actually went forward, grabbed hold of one of the options. We did end up closing this property. Oh, and this is the results. Ended up putting it into T3 Holdings. Don't know whether I've mentioned, but I have 3 sets of twins. That was my motivation in learning all these skill sets so I could create abundance for all of us. And I did get it under contract for $372,000 and change. That's a dramatic difference from where we started. So the result, $765,000, purchase price, $372 and change, held it for 2.5 years, sold it, spent on repairs, about $2,500, cash flow, $2,000 a month every month that I had it, and ended up selling it for $685,000. Very much in tune with where they were pricing it initially. What's the point of this is that I was able to make over $300,000 in profit on this one deal. Man, if you're not motivated to do real estate after looking at deals like this, I don't know what'll change your mind or what'll move you. So how did I go from 765 to 350 and change? This is through these negotiation strategies. It was stacking and dovetailing several. So I'm going to be able to get you the Maverick 50 strategies, which plays into all the different strategies that I use for this particular deal. And also we'll get on the phone with a consult so that we can go into more detail with your deal and how it all applies. For that last deal, not only was it a 3-option offer, it was also a little bit of shock and awe. We had multiple different stages of negotiations. Once I got the property under contract, that gave back tens of thousands of dollars in concessions because of different things that were coming up with the property. Not most things that would either have people not buy the property or people would just let it go. Normally, they wouldn't negotiate to create the tens of thousands that we got taken off the deal. And so that's where these techniques are. This is one that I love, love, love for residential as well as commercial. Dump the monkey. This is the inspection report discount. What happens when someone gets a property under contract? And I'm not talking about the buyer. What happens in the seller's mentality? What happens to them? They get a property on the contract. They had a property, they owned it, they put it on the market, and now it goes under contract. What happens to the psyche of the person? Are they still figuring it's still for sale and they're looking for a buyer still, or are they out partying that night? I got to tell you, most of the people that I know that are selling their home, selling their house, selling even a small residential, they will get super stoked that their property is under contract. It hasn't closed yet. It's just under contract. And they will get super stoked and they will start celebrating. They'll call up their friends. They'll call up all their family members. Hey, guess what? It's sold. We are now under contract. We'll get the money. Listen to the price I got. This is just phenomenal. So excited. We've got the property closed. So great. Now, it hasn't actually closed. They don't have the money in their bank account yet, but they're acting as if. And they're telling everyone, this is a done deal. We got the property under contract. Now, inspection report comes along, which you usually have somewhere in that first week to 10 days to 2 weeks to create this inspection. So you go through and inspect the property. And after you inspect the property, well, then you're able to go back and say, no, there are things we found that I don't want to do the deal, or we didn't find everything's great, and we move forward. That's the whole point of the inspection. Well, imagine this. Imagine you get the inspection report, and I usually recommend have an itemized inspection report. Have an inspection report that is itemized to what it would cost to repair every single item that you find less than desirable or faulty in the property. Now, were all of these things pointed out by the realtor when you did your walkthrough? Never. These are all things that they didn't point out or they didn't say was that serious. And now you get the inspection report that says, oh my gosh, there's chip paint over in that corner. There's some rotted wood just on the windowsill there. That needs to be replaced. And maybe there's a nuance of 100 different things. The inspection report comes back all itemized with how much it's going to take to repair it or replace it. And you just dump the monkey. These are all challenges that they know about, that they've ignored all these years, and you just give it back to them. It might have a price tag, 30, 40, 50,000. I've seen as much as $160,000 in repairs on one property that needed to be done, and just hand the report back to the owner. Now, here's the thing. You don't say a word. You don't like add nuance to it. You just hand the report over to the other side. Now, what happens during these moments? The psyche, remember, this is a person that's just gone out and celebrated that they closed the deal. Now it's a week later and they're getting this report that says there's $50,000 in repairs that need to be done on the property. Do they believe that you're just being friendly and handing them the report out of goodwill, say, hey, here's what we found? Or are they anticipating that you're going to ask for those repairs to be done? And that's where the key comes in with the negotiations. They go crazy. They're like, $50,000? There's no way I'm going to repair all these things. This guy's nuts. Crash the deal. There's no way it's happening. Like, they get really emotional. Now, if you know anything about psyche of people, high emotions usually means lower intelligence. So now they've just taken themselves out of the game. They're not thinking straight. Now you can come in as the good guy. Because now you're coming in and saying, no, I don't mean for all those things to be taken care of, but there's about 5,000 out of the 50 that, well, those things, could we get those done? And if not, could I get a credit on the HUD statement for the 5,000 just to mitigate all this? And we can move forward immediately. That strategy, they've already celebrated. They're on the 11th hour. You come in for this last minute concession. They absolutely will give you that concession. I will tell you, it happens every single time. It's the little things. Dump the monkey, give them these challenges, see how they react, and then go back, be the good guy, and say, no, I'm not asking for 50 grand, but I'm asking for the 5. What can we do about those things? I did that on a property in a 4-unit property. We had a tremendous negotiation process, and we had multiple different stages of negotiation. One of them was dump the monkey. It also was the 3-option offer I used on this property. I also used absolutely believe in what you're asking, believe in your offer price. Staying the course makes a difference, because they're like, they want to sell. That's the whole motivation on their part. They want to sell. When you help them believe, because you believe that that what you're offering is the price that they could be getting, it helps move it. Crazy is as crazy does. When they don't know how you're going to play the game, they don't know where you're going to stand in negotiations, that plays to your advantage because they don't know how to read you. Position an arbitrator. Sorry. One of the key components that I do all the time, and realtors love me for this, is that I bring in and in different states, this changes up slightly, but I have someone representing my side of the equation. So a buyer's agent, not just utilizing the seller's agent. I always have a buyer's agent. Even when I find the deal myself, I bring in a buyer's agent, because having someone that you can position as a negotiator to be the face for you can change the game, and you can utilize that in different ways. We cover that in the Maverick 50 as well. Hen Newton's first law, and I'll cover that at another time. Stacking all these negotiation strategies makes a difference. It makes a difference in maximizing your results. Funds are limited, not limitless. Know that you can always fund your deals. Negotiating funding for your deal can be just as powerful as negotiating for the deal itself. And I want to skip to a couple things to get to the heart of the matter. Had several people that I've worked with over the decades now. I've been coaching on real estate negotiations, creating abundance, doubling your income for the last 17, 18 years. This is a couple that came in with a certain mindset of creating X amount of dollars, and we quickly changed their whole game plan and strategy. And now they've been with me for over 10 years, created over $25 million in a legacy business that 3 of their adult children are also a part of now, that they continue to build and grow. We've done both commercial, residential, new builds, a lot of different strategies that we've worked with over the years because they stayed the course and worked with me all that time. What I can tell you is in the first year, their goal was to do 10 rehab flips. They had just gotten started. They had done a couple rehab flips. In that first year, we went from, instead of a goal of 10, I recreated the whole strategy to be a goal of over 20. They ended up doing 24 rehab flips in that first year. Part of it is systems and processes, also knowing how to negotiate so you build a proper team. Trial closes is another one. Stop negotiations by jumping to the finish line and do a trial close. That's a component. I did it with a couple different deals. Sorry about that. Did it with this particular deal. One question, one trial close, if then. Saw this property was for sale by owner, walked in. They're in the middle of doing construction, and I asked a simple question. If I give you less than what you're asking, so I already knew their asking price, they had it listed on the table, the listing offer. I already knew the list price, and I said, if I gave you less than that, however, you could stop construction right now, would you be interested? The moment I asked that, one of the other contractors took his utility belt off his waist and dropped it on the floor and said, does that mean I can go home now? What was happening was, this was a couple that had bought this property to do a rehab flip. They had been rehabbing it for a couple months now, and they had been utilizing one of his best friends to help rehab the property. The best friend had it. The best friend did not want to do construction on the weekends anymore and was ready to quit when I walked in the door. I knew they were going to move forward on my offer almost no matter what it was, because of their friend saying, can I quit now? It was gold. We end up getting this property under contract. We contracted the next morning, the very next morning. We closed within 30 days. And that one question, this property netted me a profit of over $80,000. You never know what's going to work in negotiations. However, knowing all the tools, all the strategies that are available to you can make the big difference. Do what most people won't do for the next 5 years. I got to tell you, all of you, you want to work with me, I would love to work with you. I'm going to offer up one incredible brain dead deal to work together and to get into your negotiations. If you know that one negotiation could pay for everything I'm going to ask tenfold, all within the next 30, 60, 90 days. Do you think it may be worthwhile to pay attention to this and grab hold? That's all I'm offering, is the ideas that I bring to the table will bring more to your bottom line almost overnight. And here's one of the newest games in town, or newest deals that have just got closed on. And I will say this was a heaven of a deal, because the owner, or the person that closed on this deal, happens to be someone close to me. It was my son that closed on this latest deal. He's 22 years old. And for some of us, you're going to eat your hats when you watch what happened with this deal. It was purchased for $385,000. However, the list price was over $700,000. And I want to see, I think I've got a better. Yeah, there we go. Purchase price, this is David's deal, I call it. Purchase price was $385,000. However, it was listed for $700,000. Listed for $700,000 through multiple tiers of negotiations. We got it to $385,000. He ended up purchasing this, and it did need a lot of work. And what you're seeing here on the screen is 3 duplexes side by side, all owned by the same person, all for sale at once. 3 duplexes. There are 20 bedrooms in these three homes, or 6 units. So most of them are 3 units, and there's a couple that are 4-unit properties, or 4-unit apartments. So we got a credit of $35,000 on the deal because of a few things that came up in the inspection report. We already knew it was going to be a rehab, and this is a buy and hold with a rehab construction loan on it. So $385,000 purchase, $35,000 credit with $250,000 rehab. Total all in is $600,000. ARV is over $900,000. He's walking in, 22 years old, got this under contract, closed on it just about a month ago. $900,000 is the ARV, $300,000 thus is the equity as soon as he finishes construction, which should be done in the matter of the next couple of weeks. Here's the kicker, is because of learning how to negotiate for funding as well, he was able to get into this deal for less than 3% of the entire deal. He got into this with about less than $15,000. This is huge. Rent is about $9,000 actually, in recalculating and what he's been able to get leases signed for. This is going to be rent over $10,000 a month, with an equity of $300,000. Who thinks this is an incredible deal? Again, remember, this started as a list price of $700,000. Most people didn't see the value of it for $700,000, so they ran. One of the things that I encouraged my son to do, and one of the reasons why this was such a great deal, is he listened to every nuance. One of the things that happens, and one of the things that I can offer up to you is, man, the other side texts you, oh, this is what we're looking for, here's the deal, or they're emailing you. Send the copy of that to me. I'll craft the exact script on what to return back to them with. And the nuance of those scripts is what created this deal for David. And we do these type of things over and over again. This is just one of the latest that has just been so incredible to watch. This is also half a mile from his college, half a mile from his fraternity. And so it's a community not only that he knows, but perfect. If you know properties like this that are right close to schools, it's an ongoing revenue stream that really doesn't end as the university, the college ends up growing and growing and growing over the years. As it usually does, the housing around it becomes more and more valuable. As I said, I've been an entrepreneur for over 36 years. I've owned several different distribution companies, real estate for over 20 years. been a speaker for over 17, run speaking boot camps all around the country, 250, real estate training sales team, author, trainer, speaker, 18 bestsellers. My beautiful wife, my soulmate, and my 6 children. These are my motivations. This is what propelled me to create the abundance in our life and our world. And I encourage all of you to find your why, find your passion, and create more every single day. Hang out with some incredible people, and I want to go right to a offer for you so that we can create more. I've got my podcast, my books. I speak all around the country. I even have a movie that's out, Beyond Limitations, and we're about to create a couple more of thought leaders on how to break through and create abundance. And everything is possible with what you're doing, but this is just the beginning. This is one session, one day, one time. There's so much more. Realize that in negotiations, there's tons of different components that I would love to spend more time in training you on, tons of different techniques and strategies that actually work. And knowing the more tools, the more strategies you have, the more possibility of creating thousands in your bottom line. And they are unending, as you will, in the possibilities. That's why I created the Maverick 50. It's just the first 50 of these techniques, only there's so much more to be able to communicate for you, as you can see. Just a few of the ones that I was sharing. One of the things that I want to offer up to you is the Maverick Tool Chest. This is your chance to take action to create more in your future. This is brain dead, I promise you, real easy peasy for you to be a part of. One is I do boot camps all around the country, 3-day boot camps, only me on stage, usually about 50 people in the room. So it's really more like a mastermind where we do a ton of Q&A, ton of engagement on what's going on with your business, your strategies, your systems, your real estate deals, and getting into the weeds with you on how to create more, how to create abundance as an independent entrepreneur, as someone who's building multiple different businesses, even, which is commonplace for my clientele. And so 3 full days of going through communication strategies, techniques, entrepreneurial mindset, really understanding how to run your business and get better and better at it. In addition, we have a party there. You're going to be able to also get a program of mine called Kickstart. And Kickstart is all the core on communications, on techniques and strategies for increasing your emotional intelligence, understanding time management, really getting clear with the nuance of what it takes to be an entrepreneur, as well as the Maverick 50 communication strategies are all part of the Kickstart program. You're going to have the Maverick 50 as part of this program as well. So you're going to get all 50 strategies. The complete book is all going to be available to you, as well as 90 days of working with you and analyzing your deals. You're going to be able to send your deals to me, get some nuance on how to negotiate the deal, nuance on how to respond to the owners or the realtors and the brokers, and engage effectively to create thousands and tens of thousands to your bottom line. So here's all that it looks like. 3 days of live boot camp. Yes, you're able to bring a guest as well. Lifetime access to the events. And you're also going to get the Kickstart program, 5 pillars to entrepreneurial success. You're going to get the Maverick 50. And oh, and by the way, you're going to be able to get on the phone with me and talk in detail about the design of your future, exactly what a deal that you're working on, and how to nuance that deal right away, as well as the ability to create some strategies and systems with me through analysis of all your deals over the next 90 days. Normally, this is $19.97. Right now, for you guys, $997, guarantee. And I'll go through that in a moment, but I wanted to get to this. 3 easy payments of $367. 3 payments of $367. So here's something that you can get in the deal. You can get on the phone with me. You can be negotiating the deal right away and create thousands of dollars in your bottom line long before you ever get into payment number 2 of $367. So for 3 payments of $367, create magic, and all we're asking for today is one payment of $367 to create this, get in the game, and to watch your next deal give back so much more. And for those of you that aren't in a deal right now, I promise you, we get on that first call, we will structure out a process so that you can get into a deal immediately, because it's about the negotiations on the front end that'll get you moving forward and get you in a deal right away, even when you think there's no deals around you. So take action now, $997 or 3 payments of $367. Chris Anderson went through a process with him. He ended up doing $150,000 in profit in the first 12 months after buying this program, because of 3 rehab flips within the next 12 months. We also ended up, and that was part-time, because he was also building another business that we also increased the results on that business, because he learned how to really be a leader and negotiate with his team as well. Total results over $270,000 from getting into this program for $367. Brain dead, everyone. Here's the offer. Here's the deal, $367. Here's a broker. And so for any of you that are realtors, brokers, anybody that is in that space, this also can work for you, because knowing these techniques, you now are able to expand your horizons with all the deals that and how you're helping all your clients. And so Gwalter went from making about $300,000 in 1 year to making $300,000 in 1 month, because of the increase in knowledge of skill sets and strategies that he was able to bring to the table for his clientele. Paul Brown increased from $30,000 to $175,000 in actually this was in, it says in the first year, but this was really in about 7 months, to increase his passive income in that way, which is why, and he's continued to build. He now has about $400,000 to $500,000 in passive income coming in, all from the strategies and systems that we built. David Steele again, I talked about. So can you imagine the life you could have had, or the life you would have? It can all be yours. And here's the kicker to it all. And want to pay attention to my time and give a moment for some Q&A, but $997, 3 payments of the $367. Who here believes that this is an incredible deal? Who here would like a follow-up conversation with me? Put a big convo or $ in the chat. Make it easy. Put a $ in the chat. You've enjoyed this. I've given you some moments of thought, at the very least, on different ways to address some of your challenges. And who would here like a follow-up conversation with me, regardless, knows that would be valuable. Go ahead and put a $ in there, and I appreciate that. Here's the thing. If you've gone to the QR code, and I would pay attention to the QR code on this screen, if you've gone to the QR code, the price tag on there is not $997. The price tag on there is not 3 payments of $367. For those that are here now, it is for 1 payment of $367. Just 1 payment of $367. That is it. And so please, please, please grab hold. And for those of you that are on your phone, I appreciate that. And I will show you. And it will be here. There we go. Here's the, how did we do that? Here it is. MaverickToolChest.com. MaverickToolChest.com is where you can go for 367. This is one payment of 367, not three payments of 367, not 997, one payment of 367. And you're going to my live event, our next live event, and we do this coast to coast. And so we've got people from West Coast and East Coast. We have one coming up in the East Coast just in a couple of weeks. We have another one coming up on the West Coast. Both will be available to you as well as any in the future. So no matter what the date is, these are, as we go forward, we have about a year all around the country. So choose the one that works for you. I would encourage you sooner rather than later, but don't worry about the dates. Get in the game. And in getting in the game, you're going to have 2 tickets to the event. You're going to have a powerhouse of information that's delivered there. You're also going to have the Kickstart training. You're also going to have the Maverick 50, the full book on all those negotiation strategies. And you're going to be able to get on the phone with me, not just once, but you're going to have access to me for the next 90 days to help you negotiate any of your deals that come up over the next 90 days. This is huge. For those of you that realize I'm a coach, I coach all around the country, I help train people. This is my give back. People that have coached with me, they've paid tens of thousands of dollars to have access like I'm giving you on this call. I've worked with Linda. I've worked with Realty411 now for, most of my career, about 15 years plus. And because of that, I usually come to the table with some extra special value for all of the people in the Realty411 community. So take this for what it is, and that is a give back, a great value, $367 for all of this, which usually is priced at thousands. Tickets alone for my event, if you look on the website, Maverick Success Live, it's we usually have on there $19.97. Every so often there are some discounts off of that, but $1,997 is what people have paid and continue to pay for the event itself. So this is no, freebie. This is there's no, oh yeah, this looks good, but really I just give it away all the time. This is the real deal. $367 for all of this. Here's the QR code. Grab a hold of that. And we also have the Maverick offer. And I share this because some people, they go, I'm seeing this guy on virtual. I don't know him. I haven't seen him before. Great. I've been speaking for a long time. Many of you already know me. However, here is MaverickOffer.com. And this is where you're able to grab a hold of one additional piece of information. And that is everything you need to know about time management. Because boy, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to really step up your game, time is our biggest, most valuable commodity that we throw out and we use or lose it every single day. So there's a whole download on Maverick time and time management in MaverickOffer.com. Over and above that, you want to bypass paying the $367 for now. Let's get some time. Let's get some time on the call. It'll be you and I on a Zoom call. Go ahead and grab hold of this QR code that brings you right to my calendar so that we can schedule that time. So whether it is the whole process, 367 for everything that we offered with this QR code, or it's simply to spend a little time with me, let's get a consult running in the next week with MaverickOffer.com. One or the other is absolutely there for you. I encourage all of you to grab hold. For anyone here, you have questions, this is that time during the call where questions become possible. Questions. What do you have in questions for me at this point? Negotiations, techniques, strategies, a deal. How are we doing? And I'm looking at the chat, so if you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. We just have another minute, I believe, in coordinating this. And this is your chance. Thank you so much. Any questions at all? And I'm looking at the chat. Negotiations is so powerful and so important. So many people miss the boat and they simply get in. And I hear people saying, and even with our example, remember the example way back when we were talking about Richard Branson's private island and what we would offer for it. We had people who were offering up more, $3.5 million because it's such a great opportunity. I absolutely want to get in the game. I got to tell you that for instance, my son who got into that property, and we've had our that just happened to be the one that happened this month, only there deal after deal after deal that we do. And that particular deal, there's so many people in the same community, let alone in communities that are right near it that could have placed an offer on that property as well, that say, oh no, there's no good deals around here. There's no good deals around here. No. Because, oh, by the way, the property in question is in the Northeast. Property in question is in New York. And people are still every day telling me, no, there are no good deals out there. Oh man, the competition is so fierce. I just need to grab whatever I can and hope for the best. And I hear that all the time. What I implore you, learn techniques, learn the strategies. Let's get on a call. Let's spend a little time, because it can make all the difference in the world with where you end up. I started in real estate 20 something years ago, and I never knew that it would create the magnitude of results that I now have. I didn't realize where this could take me. Dare to get in the game and dare to get into it at a new level, even for you that are experienced, even for you that have been doing this a while. I promise you there are nuances that you're not taking advantage of. How should an investor expand their database? Network more. Network more. Start talking to, if you haven't already, one, talk to every realtor, broker, attorney, title company in the areas that you want to invest. Talk to them. Get on the phone with them. Make sure that they know what you're interested in and engage with them. Part of your influence is to communicate with them effectively so that they know you're the person. They get any sort of listing, any sort of deal that looks great, they want to give it to you versus anybody else, because you're the one that's going to make it happen. Best way to find deals. Do you drive for dollars? I always drive for dollars, always having an eye out for it. That's how my son got that particular deal. He wasn't driving for dollars. He was keeping an eye open no matter where he was. And it just so happened this property was on his way to school. He's like, should I place an offer? I went, what have I taught you? And so we absolutely got into engagement right away. As soon as you see a deal, stop. You're driving for dollars, stop, walk in, get that offer. One of those negotiations I talked about on the slide deck, that's exactly what happened. It was a for sale by owner sign, little small one that I saw on the sign in the window of the property. I stopped, pulled over, and walked in, instantly placing an offer. Driving for dollars works. Networking for dollars in this day and age, and going online, making sure that you activate your expanded center of influence. And we'll talk about that more as well. I know my time is up, and I'm just driving and answering these questions. Everyone, thank you so much for being a part of this, being a part of Realty 411, and making all this worthwhile for all of us. Continue to share. Come find me. Let's spend a little time together with a consult, maverickoffer.com, and we can spend more time together and get into more and more of your questions. Linda, it's an absolute pleasure. This is Paul Finck, the Maverick Millionaire. I pass it over to you. You're muted.
Here we go. Thank you so much, Paul. I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing all your knowledge, all your strategies and techniques with our guests. It's always a pleasure to connect, and I look forward to seeing you in person on October 26th in Los Angeles for our big Los Angeles Grand Real Estate Expo.
Sounds like a plan, and you're in for a treat. Jeremiah, this guy's awesome. He knows his stuff. Pay attention to what's coming up next. See you guys.
Thanks
Thank you.
again.
Thank you. Good to see you, Paul.
Thanks again. Folks, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time. We want to make it worthwhile for you. And Jeremiah is going to share some amazing information that can greatly impact your financial future and the future of your family. So you do not want to miss it. I even recommend that you take notes if you can to really emphasize certain points that he's going to be making, but he'll be sharing a simple technique that can greatly impact your financial future and multiply your income. So, Jeremiah, would you like to share your screen and make sure that we can see that?
I will. Thank you, Linda. Great to be here. Great to be back with Realty
Thank
411.
you.
And good afternoon or morning, wherever you're coming from. I think most people are probably on the West Coast. I'm not sure today.
We have people from around the country today, so we're really excited that we can connect here and be a part of this learning experience.
Very
And
good.
Jeremiah, I'm hoping that you will also be joining us in West Los Angeles on October 26th for our big Los Angeles Grand Real Estate Expo.
Well, yeah, we've been there before, as you know, and when I
Yes.
say we, I'll mention that a couple of times, my brother or I. So sometimes we split the responsibilities and all the fun meeting everybody here and helping them really unlock the secrets to money. So that's us. Yeah, October.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to learning in person, and in the meantime, take it away.
Wonderful. Can you see my screen there? Can you see
Yes,
me?
everything is
Okay.
perfect.
Wonderful. Well, welcome everybody. If you can utilize the chat, I think you can. I will be taking a look. I'll monitor that chat to make sure, and that Realty 411 is monitoring it, and maybe they'll get it to me. But you are welcome to play along with me. I'm going to take the next hour to make sure you guys understand how you can save and spend your money at the exact same time. But Joseph, I see you in there. There we go. Chat is on. Everybody shout out to where you are. I'll introduce myself here. I'm from Greenville, South Carolina. That's where I live. And I'm going to talk about money here. And I really am going to promise you, over the course of the next 55 minutes, you are going to know how to save and spend your money at the exact same time. You're going to be able to do land deals. You're going to be able to negotiate, buy cars, pay off debt. I'm going to show you how to do those things and still have your money at the end of it. So I'm coming to you from Greenville, South Carolina, and I promise you, I did not grow up a finance bro, okay? I'm not smarter than you, but someone told me the truth about money, and for the better of 10 years, coming up here this fall, I have been practicing a technique called the infinite banking concept. Let me know if you've heard of IBC, infinite banking concept. Becoming your own banker, be your own banker, privatize banking. That is what I'm going to teach and preach here. And that's what we do at the Cash Compound. As we walk and talk people through this concept, in a way that they can understand it, bite size, and you don't have to memorize all the numbers either. Nelson Nash, the founder of the concept, said it best. If you know what's going on, you'll know what to do. If you know what's going on, you'll know what to do. So I'm going to show you how to, among other things, keep your money with you. All the money that you make this year, maybe $10 an hour, maybe $10,000 a day. I'm going to make sure you keep it so you can deploy it for things without being at risk. You can go do investment deals. Like I said, pay off your debt, buy cars and things like that. Now, Nelson Nash had this saying, and he said many things are misclassified in the financial world, but in the betterment of our world today, there are so many things that are misclassified. So here's my question for you. If you can see the screen there, on the left side, I've got a greenish circle, and on the right side, I've got a bluish circle. I want you to tell me if you can figure it out. I know it's tough. Which circle is larger? Which circle is larger? You can throw it in the chat. You can yell it out. I don't think anybody can talk back to me, but think about it for a second. Throw it in the chat if you want. Which circle is the bigger circle? Can you figure it out? Okay, Tangeree says, I don't see the slides. Oh, no. I am sharing the screen. Are we having any other problem with anyone else?
We see the screen, however, we just see your computer homepage.
Yeah, you don't see the slides. Let me
We
try
don't
again.
see the
I'm so
slides,
sorry.
yes.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Got it. Okay, I'm getting these messages now. Okay, cool. Desktop 2, Google Chrome. How about now?
Yes, that is perfect. We see it
Okay, sorry about that, folks. Sorry about that.
No
So
worries.
let me back up one slide here because I want you to know the book. This book, Becoming Your Own Banker, should be added to your library, your wealth building library. I don't sell anything for you today. I'm really going to walk away helping you understand how to do this process yourself, but you don't have to buy this book from me, okay? So I believe wherever you are, there's a bookstore called Amazon, okay? So you can go find it without me, and you can get it. Okay, so let me know in the chat if you're having any problems. Thank you, Jacques. And thank you, Joseph and Tangeree. Okay, here it is. There are 2 circles on here. Throw it in the chat if you're going to play along with us. Which circle is larger is the question. There's a green one on the left side. There's a blue one on the right side. Which one is bigger? I'm telling you, one of them is bigger. Joseph says same. Okay, that's fine. You can throw in any guess you want. Which one is bigger? Okay, green, we got to vote for green. I know it's hard to tell. That's the point. Blue, okay, blue, Jacques, blue, okay. Very good. I know some of you aren't going to answer no matter what. Plus, you don't want to be wrong. I get that. Okay, we got several. It looks like we have slightly more blues than greens. And here's the answer. Before I give it to you, but wait, there's more. Nelson Nash, the founder of the infinite banking concept, always said there's so many things misclassified. And maybe what you're doing in your life and with money is backward because someone else told you a lie. You believed it, but you didn't know it was a lie at all. And these are good intention people. Maybe your parents, of course, school. We don't learn a lot about financial education there. So let me answer this question for you. When we talk about misclassified things, misnomers, things that are named one thing and should be qualified in another category in our world. Congratulations, Joseph. The circles are the same size. They're the exact same size. We duplicated them and put them. Give yourself a round of applause. They're the exact same size. The only reason most of you voted one way or the other is because I told you they were different. Not because they were. You can tell if you know what you're looking at. They're the same. So why did you say blue or green? No, I mean, you obviously could absolutely think one is larger, but they're the exact same circle. Your money is probably eluding you. You're probably doing different things with your money than you would ever do with the things money buys for you, because it's not the money that you actually want, is it? Money is just a means of exchange. It buys you clothes, creature comforts, cuisines, a coupe, a car, whatever it is. It's not the money that you want. It's what the money gets you. It's what the money does for you. Money is very valuable, and you're probably doing really crazy things with money, I bet, because things have been misclassified for you. And if we put them in the right category, you're going to live a whole lot better life, and you're going to be in control of your capital. Remember, you will walk away in now 48 minutes knowing how to save and spend money at the exact same time. $10 an hour, $10,000 a day. Now, money isn't everything Zig says, but it ranks up there with oxygen. And here is our first example of why and how you think money might be kind of backward. Can I ask, who's Joseph? You got the last one right. Joseph, you're still up on the chopping block. No, you're doing great. You first one to tell me where you were coming in from today, Vegas, and you got the last one right. Joseph, it's time to buy a car, my friend. Most of us have cars. We drive in cars. We ride around in cars. I want you to answer this one for everybody. Everybody can put it in the chat, but I'm looking for Joseph here because I need somebody to play along with me. You've got $50,000 in a savings account at the bank. I'll be the banker. You can drop it off at my bank. Maybe this was all your money last year. Maybe this is just one real estate deal for you. And that money is earning 4% at my bank. Okay, I know you can get some of these numbers these days now that interest rates are going up at online banks, but Wells Fargo and Bank of America, they've been paying you 0.4% for the last 20 years. So I got a really good rate here, yes? 4% at my bank. Hopefully you guys agree. Now, Joseph wants to buy a car. And Joseph has $50,000. Joseph, go ahead and throw down in the chat, what type of car are you getting? Everybody can. If you got a car purchase coming up next, you got 50 grand or 5 million, you can put your dream car in. $50,000 is in the bank growing at 4%. Everybody with me? This is normal. And you don't want any payment. So you plan to withdraw your money and go buy a car, drive off the lot today. But I'm the banker and I see you in there and I say, I know you're Linda's friends at Realty411. And I say, hey, let me loan you $50,000 instead, right? For that Subaru or that CRV. I like that, Marva. Let me loan you $50,000 because your money is growing, right? Don't take your money out. Now you're going to ask me one question, and that question is, well, what's the interest rate, right? If I'm going to borrow money from the banker, I want to know the interest rate. And I go, oh, don't worry, let me get the paperwork. It'll be all good. It'll be all good. 6%. Joseph, here's the question. When you look at that deal and I tell you, you're going to come out on top, Joseph, do you believe me? Am I an honest banker? You're earning at 4% and I'm trying to loan you at 6%. Who thinks this is a great deal? You'll come out on top. That's what the banker's telling you. Let me run, get the paperwork. We'll sign right here and I'll loan you the money. You'll owe me payments. Who thinks that I'm telling the truth? I'm an honest banker. This is a good deal. Anyone, everyone? Now you're probably thinking the same thing I was, of course, when I saw this the first time. Okay, he says, I think so. Anybody else agree? I think that I should borrow money at 6% while I'm earning at 4%. Anybody think that's a good idea in your town, at your bank, for your next car? Well, why don't we just check out the numbers to make sure? Marva says nope, right? 6 is bigger than 4. Why would I do that? 72 months. Everybody good? 6 years on the car note. That's normal, right? $828.64 would be the payment. You'll owe me $828.64 each and every month for 72 months for a total of $59,600. You paid me back the principal. I make $9,600. You've had a car. Everybody buys cars this way, correct? Yes, sounds normal in the car world. Okay, now I told you you'd come out on top, earning at 4, but having to pay me interest at 6. Is that true? For the same amount of time, 72 months, you end up with $63,200. Wait, that's more than $59,000. You were paying 6%. But $63,000 is what you end up having, and you've got the car. Now, I made money because I made $9,662 as the banker, yes? I got all my principal back plus the interest. You got a car, you paid for it, and you have $63,000. Now, isn't that interesting? Now, this is math. I didn't invent math. I'm not a finance bro. But I had no idea there was a complete difference between constant compounding. Who here has heard of and likes uninterrupted compound interest? Meanwhile, amortized interest is paying down a decreasing balance. So while we're earning 4 and paying off 6, we come out on top every time. Now, 2 minutes ago, most of you probably thought that we should keep our money, we should use our money and not pay interest, right? We should use our money and not pay interest to the bank. But if you did that, you'd have $0 in the bank, correct? If you spent your money, you'd have to go back down to zero, and zero earning at 4% over 72 months is still zero. Very interesting. Remember these numbers, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on. I'm going to give you $1 just in case you didn't get this one right. We've got $1, and it's true that most people hear that they should put their money in the market and wait it out for the long haul, yes? But the market goes up, down, left, and right. Sometimes it flatlines. So let me ask you a question. If you lose 10%, you didn't do so well in year one. You had $1. How much money do you have at the end of year one? You lost 10%. If you put it in the chat, quick, I'll add 90%. What is 90%, right? How much money? Great stuff, Marva. How much money do you have? The money amount is 90 cents, right? Jacques got it, of course. Now, in the second year, you have a reversal of fortune, and we have a 10% gain. The market's up, right? We got another bull run. Great. How much money do you end with after 2 years? We're stopping here. We're ending after 2 years. 99 cents. I love it, Marva. Big deal. Now, I said 100 when I first saw this example. And the reason for that is because I thought we'd be back to where we started. But we started with a new lower principal, 90 cents. 10% of 90 cents is 9. So I go up to 99. That's called the drawdown effect. And we need to pay attention to that. It's a really, really big deal. If we lose money in traditional places, we have to gain more to get back to where we started. The gain we actually need to get back to $1 is 11.1% return. Very important to understand. So if we lose money, we have to have a bigger return to get back to where we started. Now, there may have been taxes and fees and inflation during those 2 years, and there may have been a great real estate opportunity come across our desk, but we would have had our money locked up. And if we used our money after year one, we would have been down. Big deal to understand. Let's move on. One many of you have probably been posed with once or twice before. Would you rather have $1 million up front right now or a penny that doubles every day for 30 days? Which one? Either or, you pick it. We've got a penny doubling according to Marva. Anybody else? Who's going for the million? Because our after party today, after our conference and get together, obviously Marva's not paying. She only got 1 penny. So who's taking the million? Jacques says 1 penny. All right. Nobody's paying for lunch and drinks after this because they only have 1 penny. Now, they chose right, didn't they? If you've seen this before, you understand the strength of constant compounding, or like we more formally know it as, is uninterrupted compound interest. 1, 2, 4, 8. Each day, we haven't gotten where we need to go at all. Leroy's going to take $1 million. You sure, Leroy? Because after 30 days, all of our penny pinchers have $5.3 million. $5.3 million if we could wait it out 30 days. They passed you up, Leroy, on day 28. The reason that we miss this is very interesting. Einstein says compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it, and he who doesn't, pays it. Well, investing, hold on, Leroy, you just said we should invest it immediately. What if the market goes backward? Didn't I just show you that? Now, of course, not everything goes backward, I understand. Let's just make sure we understand that we just covered that sometimes the market is up, sometimes it's down or flat lines, and I have no idea when it's going any of those directions. We've got to be very careful about that drawdown effect, because if we ever have a loss and the market does incur losses, we have to make up for it with time and a bigger return. Big deal. If we put a 2% fee on our $5.3 million, look what happened. We eliminated more than 2 million. Big deal. And we put dollars in places with fees all the time, don't we? Brokerage fees, account fees. In my house, our favorite is called overdraft fees. I won't call anybody out. What if we needed to use the money? Isn't money just a means of exchange? It helps us get what we really want and need. It's not the money I want. It's what the money can get me. I need to exchange this money for hats and clothes and cars and food. So we took out $100 twice, in day 15, again in day 25, and now our $5.3 million is down $3.2 million because it wasn't there to double. What about taxes? Now in South Carolina, we have taxes. I don't know if you guys live in tax-free environments, but I don't know anybody who does. They're coming for you, coming, going. They tax us on more things all the time. There's lots of different types of taxes. 15% tax on our penny ends up being $182,000 in paid for taxes, and the loss was $4.8 million. You guys understand where I'm going with this? If we put money in the wrong places, we are in trouble. Joseph says, even in state tax-free state, right? They get you for sales tax. They get you for all sorts of things, don't they? There's still taxes. They just, and if they're not taxes, they inflate the money supply. Very unethical government practices, and it is the norm of the day. So what if I told you that you could place your money in an environment with guaranteed constant compounding? We've seen that now in a couple of examples. We saw it in the car purchase example. We see it here. What if you could put your money in an environment with constant compounding, guaranteed, with no taxes, withdrawals, or account fees? Would you want to know where that is? I think you might. I think you might. I don't know for sure. Okay. Let's not even better than tax deferred, right? Not even tax deferred or taxed all the time. I love it, Marva. Thank you. Let's talk about the most important business in the world, the business of transacting money. It's how banks work. I want to help you understand the infinite banking concept. And those words mean something. I saw somebody throw in a type of product earlier in the chat that is not recommended or endorsed for the infinite banking concept. Because the infinite banking concept was created and developed by someone who had opinions about what he created. Now, we all use and bastardize the term pretty broadly now, but we've got to pay attention to what banking is and the product we use for this process. Let's see how important banking is. Let's put $100,000 inside the bank. We had $50,000 earlier. Let's put $100,000 in the bank. Now, I'm the banker, so I owe you 4% on your money. You give it to me for security. You get online accounts. You get a debit card. I'll give you 4%. That means I owe you money, yes? So the money is actually a liability to me because I owe you services and I owe you more money. So the dollars I drop off at the bank, or the dollars you drop off at the bank, actually are a liability to the bank. So the bank is in the business of loans, and they loan that money out. Now it's an asset, and it's going to have returns. And they loaned it out to, well, you, all of us. Don't we have houses? And don't we owe the money to the bank? Didn't the bank front it really for us, and now we owe them payments? They gave us the loan. Those loans are assets to the banks. If you're the bank, you love loans because they're assets. And now they owe you monthly payments. You guys got it? And of course, you give that money at the closing table to the seller, and they put the money right back in the banking system. Maybe the same bank, the same branch. You still owe them money, even though the bank got all the money back. You still owe them money for 15, 20, 30 years. Now the bank has had a second deposit. What do they do with deposits? Joseph, Marva, Jacques, what did the bank do? Now, wait. We already know. They loan it out. Now they loan it to the next guy in line for a car deal. They put a different spread on that one, 8%. You give it to the car dealer, and they put it back in the bank. And the situation continues. Home remodels, construction, new builds. Those dollars go to the contractor who puts the money back in the bank. What about a debt console program? They're going to charge the most for that, maybe 12%. Look who's in control of the money in your town. The bank. Whose money does the bank use all over town? Yours. Mine. So how much risk are they taking? If it's your money and they stay in control, they're not taking very much risk. Let's see how much they can make. 4% is due to, let's figure out the simple spread here. And understand that 4% has to go to you, and they did a spread of 7, 3% left over for them. You get your 4, they get 3. Then 8 into 4 is going to be 4 profit spread for them. 9 and 4, 5 for them, 12 and 4, 8. Let's add them up. They moved the money, constantly moved it. Motion is a natural law. The money doesn't make anything if it sits around. You guys with me? The money doesn't make anything if it sits in the teller's drawer. Let's add it up. Here we go. 3 plus 4, 7 plus 5, 12, 8, 20%. They made 20% on your money while you made 4. That was the profit. Remember, you made your 4. They made 20%. Here's the question. Someone answer this one for me. I want some feedback. How much more percent did the bank make on your money than you made on your money? While you're writing that down, how much more percent did the bank make on your money than you make on your money? Remember that this was your money the entire time. You did not have control. If you had taken your money out and withdrawn it, it wouldn't have compounded anymore. Obviously, if you withdrew it all, there'd be no growth. Great, great questions down there. You got it, Jacques. 500% more. 5x more. They made you made $4,000 and they made $20,000. That is 5x for those of you who are thinking it was 16. I love it. You got it there for a second. Jacques got it. Joseph said 16. Okay. 5x, 500% more. They made $20,000 moving your money around. No risk, your money. Now, it was your money. It was all your purchases. Why didn't you make the profit? It was your money. It was your purchases. The bank didn't buy anything? It wasn't even the bank's money. Why didn't you make the money? And the answer is you weren't the bank. That was the only piece of the puzzle you were missing. What if I could show you how to be the bank with your own money, with your own home, your own car, your own real estate, and your own purchases? That's the only thing that's missing. And the tool for this process, crazy, the tool for this process is a dividend-paying whole life insurance policy from a mutual company. What? Now, time out. When I first saw this information 10 years ago, someone told me we were talking about wealth and growing our capital, controlling our environment of money. And then they said life insurance. I said, time out. Now you want me to die. I thought we were going to talk about money and growth. What? And whole life insurance, now I was a Dave Ramsey guy. I was a cash buyer at the time I saw this. So when I heard life insurance at all, I knew that you go to hell if you have whole life insurance. So you want me to die and go to hell? No wonder you guys are rich. You guys sold your souls to the devil. Why in the world would we use this tool for our wealth building, for controlling our capital, for being a bank? Because it's what all the big boys do. We've got it right here. Marva said it. Corporations and banks have more whole life insurance than they do land and real estate assets combined. The richest families in America for hundreds of years. We're working on like 200 years of rich families in America at this point. They've been doing it. It's not on trial. It's guaranteed stuff. So I'm going to show you how. Everybody cool with that? Put how in the chat. How? How do we do this? Break it down for us simply. Put how in the chat. How do we use dividend-paying whole life insurance policies from a mutual company to become the bank? To control our own finances, to leverage our own money for deals. If we can't come up with money, or if we don't stash it in a place that it's liquid, not going backward, there's not a bunch of fees, then we're in trouble. We're right where we started. What if you could put your money in a guaranteed pool in a guaranteed place, just like these men? They need no introduction from us. But they've been using the techniques of banking for hundreds of years. They need no introduction. We got J.C. Penney right here. During the Depression, he borrowed money from insurance policies because the banks were failing. The banks were failing. It was the Great Depression. Ray Kroc borrowed from life insurance to keep payroll going, utilized his policies for this process. Walt Disney, everybody hears about him these days, borrowing against life insurance policies to get his Disneyland idea going. It's not new. And it's being done by your favorite biggest banks as well. These are the assets of Tier 1 capital that banks are holding in life insurance companies. Now, banks have a spot on every corner in every town in America. They also have all the halftime shows, if you like sports, and they've got all the naming rights to big buildings downtown, everywhere you go, and the stadiums. So is it stupid, or do the big boys and girls know something that you just aren't doing yet? They know something you just don't know yet. Reminder, there are several different types of life insurance, and I'll repeat what we're going to use. The same thing that the big banks own and that the wealthiest families in America own. Dividend-paying whole life insurance from mutual companies. There's other types. We're not going to use those because that's not what the big boys use. And I want you to remember that. We're not going to use term or any universal product for this process because it's not used by the big boys. You guys ready? Our signature piece right here at the cash compound is the 3-cup setup. If we realize that we're losing money to the banks, we're paying them all the interest, they are keeping control of our capital, we can solve the problem with the product. Let's figure out how this product works. Now, do you know the problem? Put problem in the chat if you understand what the problem is. You don't control your capital, and it's being leveraged every day by someone else, and you owe that person who's making all the profit, you owe them all the money because you owe the bank money every month, don't you? Everybody put problem in the chat. If you don't understand the problem, you won't be able to fix it with the process. The problem is your money goes to an entity that controls your capital, they profit off of them, and you owe them money. That's the problem. You can take the control back. The 3-cup setup is going to help us with the product for the process. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you give an insurance company premium, that's the bill, yes? That's cup number 1, the left side, the red one. Every time we pay Jake at State Farm, that's called the bill, the premium, yes? What does premium buy us at a life insurance store? The bill, at the electric company, you pay their money, it gets you lights. At the grocery store, you pay them money, you get groceries. If you give a life insurance company money, you get a policy, a payout, peace of mind, paperwork, a pool of cash. Yes, I'm Baptist, so a lot of my stuff is alliterated. I don't want to make it complicated for you. You give them money at a life insurance company, that's called premium, it buys you death benefit. Your pennies buy their dollars. Everybody knows this. We have car insurance, we have fire insurance, we have phone insurance. You pay a premium for their money or the replacement of your lost item. Now, life insurance is a little bit different than car, phone, and fire insurance. Life insurance will have a loss. You hope you never crash your car. God forbid you do. You hope you never flush your phone down the toilet or have a fire. But there will be a loss in life. So if we buy a whole life insurance, do you realize that it's guaranteed to pay? It must pay out. We'll die one day. Everybody with me? Tina, we hope it's available to you later. If you have to roll, you're going to miss it. I'm getting close to ramping up toward the finale for you. We've discovered the problem. Now, how do we solve it? Can we solve it with this entity? Premium buys death benefit at a life insurance company. If we buy a whole life, it doesn't expire, it doesn't term out, doesn't go away. It doesn't matter if you die tomorrow, that would be your whole life, or you die when you're 110, that would be your whole life. They'll pay. And because this pool of money must pay out, the blue cup and cup 3 must pay out to your friends, family, church, or charities, the beneficiaries, it's got to come. You'll die one day. When they call, they get the money. We bought it. It's ours. Cash value is how much equity we have so far. Cash value is how much liquidity we have in the death benefit that we already purchased. Who's with me? Cash value is how much of the total we've purchased is paid up, paid off, or paid for. You guys with me? It's how much is paid up, paid off, or paid for so far. We haven't paid for everything. We got more premiums to put in, just like our real estate. We pay premiums. They don't change for our real estate, and our real estate purchases are more and more paid up, paid off, and paid for. We get more equity all the time. Who just had a light bulb go off in their brain because they realize they know 1 or 2 things about real estate, but they didn't realize that whole life insurance works the same way? At the beginning, day 1, the insurance company takes a lot of risk. We pay a little bit for it, and they assume we won't die tomorrow. That's why they probably did a health exam. Cash value is how much of the total we purchase they must pay can come out. We design policies on purpose for this process. That's what we do at our office for cash value use immediately. We're going to use that money. We're going to go get into a great deal. We're going to go do a real estate deal. Let's borrow against our policy. Notice our money is in this cup. It earns guarantees, and we'll get to those in a second. But we're going to borrow, leverage our policy, cash value, the equity portion, so our death benefit does go down while we have money out. We have gotten some of the money here, and the rest of it is on standby for our friends, family, church, and charity beneficiaries. But we're going to be a bank now. And when money goes out at the bank, don't we want it to come back with interest? Especially if we own the bank. That's how we make money. Money goes out. We sign a little agreement, and they pay us the principal back over time, which raises our death benefit. And then we charge them interest. And the interest goes here. This is new money. It's not a replacement of money. We already replaced the cash value we borrowed. It got put back. That's principal, re-raises our death benefit. And then the interest, loan interest, because we're the bank, we're going to charge, goes here. Premium, it's new money, which buys more death benefit, does it not? And gives us more cash value. Elena says, you don't have cash if you just start your policy. Yes, you do. Elena, I just told you we set up policies on purpose, customized for cash within 30 days. When we say immediately, we mean within 30 days. If you come to someone who's setting up a bank. Now, if you go to Jacob State Farm or Flow Progressive, Elena, you are correct. How long do you need to wait to grow your cash? Right. So there's going to be liquid pools in there right away. I'll show you one of my policies in a second. Put a P for paperwork. I want to see the paperwork. Put a P in the chat for paperwork, or paperwork, the word, and we'll get to that in a second. Okay. Now, here we go. On top of that, I mentioned to you, we're going to use a mutual insurance company for this process. And a mutual insurance company doesn't have stockholders. Mutual insurance companies have policy owners, mutually beneficial to all of the policy owners, nothing on the stock exchange. So at the end of the year, if this business has profits, if this life insurance company didn't have so many claims that they just can't pay out, everyone dies, all the cars crashed, all the buildings burned down, then they're going to have dividend profits. Okay. And those dividends go to the policy owners. Well, that's you and me. So we're going to tell them, hey, don't send the dividends to the house. They could, of course, but we're going to say, why don't you put your money on top of my money? More premium. Now, more premium buys more death benefit, does it not? Which gives us more cash value. There's more equity in our system. Now, our money has always been here, safe and sound. The guarantees are it doesn't go down or backward. This is insurance. I've never said anything about an investment here. This is insurance. Also, it buys us more money. That's another guarantee. It cash flows right here, and the premium is level and fixed, and it earns interest. Constant compounding. Our dollars are constantly compounding, and the result is a bigger death benefit and more cash all the time. So we can now save our money and spend someone else's. You guys with me? Who's with me? I told you, I promise you, I'd show you specifically how to save and spend money at the exact same time. Now, let me be a little more clear. I'm going to save my money and spend someone else's. Who thinks it's a good idea to leverage OPM, other people's money, and your money's safe and sound and still gonna compound? Joseph is with me. I love it. Very good. Very good. Okay, good. Okay, I got a lot of people right there. Good, good. So you guys understand what we're doing? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, this is wonderful. When you put your dollars inside premium of a whole life insurance company, if you're young and beautiful, you give them 1, they give you 1,000 over here. If you're old and ugly, you give them 5 over here and they give you 500, right? We don't know those numbers exactly, but if you know what's going on, you'll know what to do. I mentioned that earlier. The numbers don't matter if you know exactly what's happening. Every dollar you give them in premium buys more of their money, cash flows in the equity bucket, the cash value, and we now have a separate pool of money from ours with a bunch of guarantees and growth to use, lose, or abuse, depending on what we're doing if we're going to go visit Joseph in Vegas. We can abuse it, whatever. You guys with me? Ladies and gentlemen, here's how most people who are doing the Dave Ramsey plan buying cash. They save up and they buy that car and they go back to zero. Then they save up a long time, but got to make a lot of money and they buy that home and go back to zero. But hey, that's way better than the debtor, the people who borrow money and go to credit cards and go to banks, and then they have to pay them all the money. And in the middle of their home payoff, they got to go on vacation, right? What's going on here is the terminal point is still zero, either group. But what if we use the save and spend system? What if our dollars are constantly compounding, never interrupted, and we borrow and leverage those dollars to buy the things we want? That means we're always starting from a new higher number rather than going down to zero. You guys with me? What if we did this for real estate? What if we borrowed against our policy for a real estate deal? Here's a real deal that we did in our hometown in South Carolina. A buddy called me and said, I need 100 grand for a fix and flip. If you look anything like me, you're like, I'm not going out there to fix or flip, but I'd like to private money lend to people who do. Okay, so we loaned him $100,000 and he said, look, 15% annualized return. I'm gonna try to flip it as fast as I can. So here it is. Cash needed is $100,000. Minimum return, 90 days of that, would be $37.50, and annual return would be $15,000 if it took them a while to fix and flip it. Now, where should I get the money? Should I take it out of my wallet? Should I dig it up from my backyard, or should I leverage my policy so my money is still growing and cash value is still flowing? Why don't I borrow against my policy? So the $100,000 out of my pocket, which is going to have a great return, all things equal and work out, that's going to be a $15,000 return minus 30% for taxes, of course, if I'm in a 30% tax bracket. You guys understand what's going on? My money's going to work, but it's my money that's going to work for a net yield of $10,500. But what if I leverage my cash value? What if I borrow from my policy at 8%? You're the banker, you made up that payment term. The yield is still going to be 15. We're still going to use 100,000, but I borrowed it from my policy. Now, a bank would always make us pay it back with interest, so we made up an interest rate of 8. But we owe it to our own system, our own bank. Gross yield 15,000. Okay, that's the same. Less interest. Remember, we actually have a loan that's due of $8,000. Now, who's getting that money? Your policy. You are. Interesting. Less taxes because we had a loan outstanding. Loan isn't taxable. 2,100 then. So our net yield on that is going to be 4,900 for a total yield of 12,900. We just borrowed from our own policy while still having a death benefit, while still having growing cash value, while still having guarantees. And we borrowed from it and we had a higher yield because we're the bank. Remember what happened in the car example at the beginning? The bank made $9,600. Well, now we're the bank. So we made the interest. The interest did not go to a third party. We kept it and we did the deal. If poor people would just do what rich people would do, they wouldn't be poor anymore. I think about that more and more often all the time. And I'm like, come on, Warren, don't treat us like that. We didn't know. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to look at the paperwork in 2 minutes. Put a 2 in the chat. You still with me? 2 minutes. We're going to see the paperwork. But we are going to create your own paperwork as well. When you work with us for this process and you want to become your own bank, we're going to put it on a one-sheeter for you. Let me show you kind of what that looks like. What if you decided that you were going to save $30,000 that you made this year? Now, last year, the bank got all your money, yes? Did the bank get 100% of your money? The third-party bank you don't own, you don't control, and you told your boss to just go ahead and drop that money in. They got the money, they control it now, they're leveraging it, they're making all sorts, and you just gave it to them. The only thing they gave you was a debit card, but you gave them all your money. When you think about buying life insurance, $30,000 in premium sounds crazy. When you think about a bank, you're like, 30,000. I need a lot more in my bank than 30,000 because it's a bank. I like deposits in the bank. Is this making sense for you? Red Cup premium, $30,000. What does it buy? Death benefit, blue cup. What are we going to set up on purpose? Cash value, equity, to be able to borrow and leverage. You can see that we have a borrowing power immediately of $17,000. We made that up. It's a custom fit for your needs. And we typically do a customization like this. Typical customization, normal customization, that's an oxymoron right there, but this is how we might normally do it. Of the $745,000 that this particular person got in death benefit, I don't know if they were fat or skinny, old or young, or they smoked or didn't, but the death benefit is $745,000. If they die tomorrow, the insurance company's got them covered. $17,000 of that $745,000 is liquid. They can leverage it. And each and every year, their premium dollars are buying more benefit, guaranteed, and giving them more cash to use, lose, or abuse. This is where we save our money. Where do you save yours? On top of that, we only use mutual companies. Remember, mutual companies pay dividends annually. Dividends are projected in another column in the paperwork that you will see in just 1 minute, down to 1 minute. And dividends from profitable mutual companies have been coming each and every year for 200 years almost. That means on top of the guaranteed cash, what if they just pooled another shot glass on top of yours? You like money with your money? Well, they just put another shot glass of money on top of yours inside your red cup to grow your cash that you can use from them, which obviously also buys more death benefit. Look at these numbers. Over the course of time, this particular person may have put in premiums of $360, have $372 guaranteed income tax-free growth money to use on deals, on houses. So how much money can they make if they go invest? Haven't you been learning about that all day? And what if the insurance company also gave the dividends that are projected? Mutual companies are so good at it, they'll put the non-guaranteed projected dividends in the paperwork. And we're going to take a look at that in just 30 seconds. But go ahead and hover over this, ladies and gentlemen. If you've enjoyed what I've done today, you still like to see the paperwork, stay on, but I want to give you this QR code here so you can get to our resources. If you'd like a free consultation phone call here, if you found value in someone walking and talking through your questions and concerns or the next steps to actually do this, this is the link that you want. We can download the slides from here. You can get on our calendar from here. And if this is possible, I wonder if I'm just selling you something, or do you think I do it? Of course I do it. Let me show you the very first policy that I got. Let's go. Okay. But by the way, so I'm J-Dew, J-D-E-W. Okay. A lot of people see it real quick and think it's J. Drew. I understand that. J-Dew is my first name is Jeremiah. J-Dew is how everybody knows me. So go ahead and hover over that. Hopefully you already have it at this point. Let's take a look. Here is a screenshot of the first 10 years of the very first policy that I bought. Everybody say paperwork. Are you looking what I'm looking at? Do you see it still? Put a P in for paperwork. What can we make sense of? What is happening? If you understand the problem, then you understand that this product can solve the problem with the process of banking. Ladies and gentlemen, red cup, cup number 1. How much money did I tell? I made it up. I told the insurance company, I'll give you this amount of money each and every year. What's the number that you see there? And what cup did that correspond with? Moving down the list, we've just got time, 10 years so far. Hopefully I live a lot longer than that, but I ran out of space. Yes, I said, I'll give you $10,000. What is the color of the cup? When we give an insurance company money, we pay the bill, $10,000 in premium. What color was it? Red. Yeah. Okay, very good. Now, what does premium at an insurance store buy you? I don't want to go over your head. Premium, if you give them premium, what does that buy you at an insurance store? Does that buy you gas or groceries? It buys you death benefit. Thank you. That's what we bought. We now have a guaranteed contractual agreement that they owe my family $425,000. I bought this 9 years ago, real policy that I actually own. And it was properly engineered for cash on purpose. So guaranteed, that G word is guaranteed. I didn't write that, they did. At the end of the year, I put in dollars If I put in dollars at the beginning of the month, if I paid it monthly, I'd have monthly dollars. If I put it in annually, I have annual dollars. But by the end of the year, for sure, even though there will be liquidity the first 30 days, okay? Whoever asked me earlier, was it Marva? I don't remember, somebody. Okay, cash value, green cup, green, that's money we can spend, 6212. Everybody see what we're looking at? Of the 425 that I bought must be paid out, there's equity in it so far of 6,200. Not much different than how houses work, except with a lot less cash value. Who said? Elena says, hey, when I buy houses, there's no equity day one. When I buy life insurance, there's no equity. Well, unless we build it that way on purpose. Do you guys see what I'm talking about here? All right, very good. So each and every year, you can see the cash value growth. Yes, you guys with me? Here we go. In year 2, I give them $10,000. Premium is level, doesn't go up, doesn't get higher. I give them $10,000 and they gave me $9,900 new money. I already had 6212 in there. So if this is a cumulative total, I've got 9,900 new money. Everybody see that? In year 3, I give them $10,000 and they give me 10,200. How's that possible? Well, remember, our dollars are constantly compounding. Death benefit is rising. I'm buying more of their money, and this is how much I can cash flow so far. You guys with me? So over the course of time, this is getting more efficient and better and better. Over the course of 10 years, I've saved $70,000 at the life insurance store. The mutual life insurance store, that pays dividends, and we're setting it up for cash. I've given them $70,000, and they've given me $545 on standby for my death, and a liquidity value so far of 74. With, read my lips, no new taxes. Who knows that reference? Who knows that reference? Are you old enough for that one? I know I'm older than I look, but I mean, I just watch the reruns and YouTube. No new taxes. We've saved 70,000 with them, and we have a liquidity value of 74 to pay off our debt, to buy cars, to do deals, to send our kids to space camp. And what if they pay dividends? Non-guaranteed side of the paperwork shows us a mutual company's expectation of dividends. You guys with me? There we go. Joseph got it. 10 points for Joseph. Here's some cash value for you, sir. Boom. On top of the guarantees, if you didn't think that growth with the death benefit, with guarantees was good enough for you for saving your money, then what if they added another $3,700 on top of it? If they add more money from our little shot glass of dividends on top of our money in cup number 1, it buys more death benefit. You can see the death benefit on the right-hand side is higher than the death benefit on the left. Why? They put more money in for us, which gives us more liquid cash to use, lose, or abuse. Ladies and gentlemen, reminder that internal values grow tax-free. Death benefit is passed on tax-free. Loans don't have to be repaid. I think you should repay them. That's how banks make money. They send out loans and get them back with interest, but they're not considered income. And if they don't get paid back, it's just a prepayment of the death benefit. And liens, life insurance is exempt from judgments and liens in most states. Wouldn't you like to have a private, guaranteed growing, tax-free, leverageable contract that you control? Does that sound like a good idea to save your money before you get into investments? Did you like the guarantees, the growth, and the privacy on your own money before you get into a great deal with someone else? You've heard that the rich pay themselves first. Yes, you've heard pay yourself first. But you've never done it. You don't know how. You don't know where. Didn't I just show you where you can pay yourself first before you do other things? Haven't you heard that the wealthy buy assets and then borrow against them because loans are not taxable? The wealthy buy assets with their money, pay themselves first, leverage those, and utilize other people's money to go make cash flow? Did you just get your mind blown by seeing that all inside whole life insurance? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here for just another minute or two. I'm answering questions and helping you understand what's going on when it comes to the infinite banking concept, or as we like to call it at the Cash Compound, how to save and spend your money at the exact same time. I'm going to do one more thing for you and just drop my link in the chat again. This time, it's going to be a separate link that'll go straight to a recorded video version of what you just saw and how you can go straight to my calendar from there, okay? Here is a link. There you go. SaveAndSpendSystem.com, just in case you didn't get the QR code or you were on your phone and so you couldn't do that as well. Or you didn't take a screenshot, so you can get someone else's phone to scan your phone, all that. Okay. So once again, my name is Jay Dew, Jeremiah Dew at the Cash Compound. Me and my brother are the banking bros, and we teach and preach code cracking cash flow, how to save your money, spend someone else's. We teach infinite banking, the infinite banking concept, how to utilize and leverage a whole life insurance contract from a mutual company that pays dividends immediately from the jump to solve the problem of all the interest that goes out the window and you pay to someone else. Okay. Oh, that link is not going to everybody. Can my friends here at Realty411 copy paste that link for everyone? Maybe I can't get into the regular. Everyone, yes, I can. There it is, though. Very good. SaveAndSpendSystem.com. Thank you so much for having me. Any questions when I have just a minute left here? I know you guys have been sitting tight all day, and I hope you have gotten something that you can hold on to. So please reach out to us. Let's walk and talk through your questions about how you can do this process for yourself.
Jeremiah, phenomenal presentation.
Thank you.
And folks, we want to encourage you to ask questions. Let us know what questions you have about the infinite banking system. This is a powerful tool that we use to leverage because it's all about leverage in order to build phenomenal wealth and do it in a faster amount of time.
You're welcome, Joseph. Thank you for playing along, everybody in the chat, and being a part of this great experience at Realty411. We've been helping people do this for the last 7 years. Johnson, well, you got to buy it. Now, year one, I put in $10,000 in my contract, and the liquidity was $6,000. That sounds too good to be true. You'd never do an investment deal where you put in 10 and you knew there was going to be 6 available, but you never treated it like a bank. So remember, we bought something to start off with, and our liquidity is not as much as we put in, but we're going to build a banking system. What about the cost of insurance? Didn't we just see the cost? It cost $10,000, Johnson. I put in $10,000. It bought me $425 that I will never see. I am dead. My liquidity so far was $6,000. Depends on how you look at things. True? Does everybody understand that I paid $10,000? It was my money. I could have gone to McDonald's with all $10,000. That's the cost it cost me. It bought me $425 that I will never see. Liquid day one, 9 years ago now, was $6,200. Johnson, if that doesn't answer your question, I think you're probably not paying attention to what's happening. Hopefully you got it. Yolanda has an IUL. Good luck. An IUL has a rising premium cost. I'm sorry, a rising cost. And if the premium does not rise, it will one day be higher than you pay. Good luck. You're in trouble. If you did not know that, you're in more trouble because that's not the only problem. Remember, your bank and the richest families in America did not use IULs. Ever. None of them. One of the reasons is because the cost rises. If your premium does not rise, you're in trouble. It'll have to eat the cash value to pay for it, or you'll have to come out of pocket. And as you get older and the cost rises, didn't you think you were going to use this for retirement? Well, if you stopped working, who's coming up with that gap? It's going to cannibalize itself. That's one issue with an IUL. Sometimes people don't know. Great points. Great points. I'm here for you. Would love to chat soon.
Wonderful, Jeremiah. Please, folks, put your questions in the chat. Jeremiah has been sharing some amazing concepts. And yes, it does sound too good to be true, but it's not. Jeremiah and his brother
Insurance, don't we?
Jonah.
Right, Linda, I've got insurance. Don't you have car insurance, phone insurance, fire insurance? Isn't it a guarantee that they'll pay?
Yes.
That's what insurance is. So let's leverage the right type of insurance that we can borrow against today for all of our great ideas that we're learning here for our real estate and our other investment ventures. So only works with mutual companies. No, mutual companies are the only companies that pay you dividends, Johnson. Okay, so if you go to Flo at Progressive, right? That's an insurance company. They got funny commercials. Flo looks nice, but she never talks about infinite banking, so good luck. And number two, they don't pay dividends over there, so I wouldn't suggest it. Remember, this type of insurance is going to be set up on purpose for this process. And Johnson and I both have car insurance. Yes, so does Joseph, Yolanda, and Marva, Linda, we all have car insurance. But I have towing. You have AAA, I have OnStar, you have comprehensive, I've got liability, you've got a safe driving discount, I've got a little monitor that goes in my, it's not the same thing, is it? Jonathan, did you just see what we did there? Well, there's lots of different types of car insurance, lots of different types of companies, they say different things. So is it all the same? No, it's not. Great questions. Great question. You need to do a health check first to get this. Most of the time, yes. The insurance company pays for it. They set it up. Well, we set it up for you because we help people get started with this process and coach them on how to use it. That's what we do, and so that's what we specialize in. And most of the time, it'll take that 15 minutes of underwriting in addition to the application paper. Yes, it's something we set up in the process. Great question. I've always had to do it. I have 2 policies on this body right here. I leverage the cash all the time. To be honest with you, here's a check. Here's a loan check that I have for one of my 9 policies that I have, 2 of myself. Johnson, must be whole life. Term life insurance. Everybody's now asking me about other life insurance. Did we not cover this? Term life insurance has no cash. You're a renter. For the duration of your term, you are renting the death benefit and it costs you the premium. I'm going to use real estate terms. You are paying premium, red cup. You're buying death benefit, but you're renting it. When the term expires, it's gone. You have no equity value. You did not buy. You're not the owner. Universal life insurance has so many variables, and it is not guaranteed to give you cash growing for the rest of your life. I do not suggest it. It is not infinite banking. Nelson Nash said you cannot do infinite banking with Universal. I do not suggest that at all. So if someone tells you you can, they're not talking about this. You can call it something else if you want. Does age matter? Well, Joseph, now if you, I'm 40. How old are you, Joseph? Put it in real quick. I'm 40 years old. We're both going to give the life insurance company $10,000. How old are you? 66. We both give them $10,000. Who gets a higher death benefit? We gave them the same amount of money. Who gets a higher death benefit? Me. Okay. So does age matter? Well, sure. But cash is cash. If we both have $6,200 to use as cash, you have a different death benefit as me, right? I get $425 in death benefit. You're older, you get less. I don't know how much less, but you get less death benefit. Cash value is going to be very similar to start off with, $6,000. Now, you have $6,000 and I have $6,000. Who can do more real estate deals? The same, right? The same. We both have $6,000. It doesn't matter. There you go. Okay. Now, if my son, if I put $10,000 on my son, my oldest boy is 8. If I put $10,000 in the life insurance red cup for my youngest boy, it buys more death benefit than $425 because he's only 8. But the cash, $6,200, we can all do the same deal, can't we? Good question. Anything else? I don't want to go over time, Linda. Thank you so much for having me back on Realty 411. Look forward to being in person.